Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And it is, yes, an AMA. Usually these AMAs are either on Friday or Saturday, but tonight it is a Thursday. Why? Because there'll be no radio show on Monday, and I will be in New York running around this week and in New York running around. If you can see me tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday, please come by and visit me. So no radio show on Monday. There will be a regular show on Monday, but no radio show on Monday. And I will be running around New York State this weekend. So if you want to come see me, you may. Let me see if I can find I do have a document that I can pop up here real fast to show you that. And of course, I think I can. And hell, maybe I can. Hold on. Is this a good spot? I think this one will do. Let me pop this up so that you can see this if I do it right. So you can actually see where I'm going to be. There, look at that. That looks amazing. And I'm going to show you right now, if I could. This is where I will be this week. If you want to come see me, Friday, I will be in Delhi. Saturday, Cobleskill, Schaghticoke, Hunter, Chatham, and the Bronx. So come on by. 6 different stops, 6 different counties, rocking and rolling. If you can't come see me, please come see me. Remember, all of these places, just come on in, say hi. I'll be here live, chat all day long. Happy to have you guys here. Thank you guys so much. But that's why there is no show tomorrow. I'll be on the road. So in any case, what did I want to do? What did I want to do about this show today? All right. A couple things bothered me. A couple things did, as is usual. And I think the number one thing was, of course, the mass violence. I don't know if I'm going to say the word right now because I'm on YouTube, so I got to do baby talk. The mass violence against the youngins. Happened yesterday. People talked about yesterday, but it's more details are coming out now. And I'm bothered by it because, how do I say this without, I'm just going to say it. Because nothing matters. I know that sounds very nihilistic. I know it does. But sadly, it's true. What's going to happen? Nobody is going to care. Nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to shift because of it. And that is my biggest issue. One side's going to say one thing, one side's going to say the other, but in reality, nothing is going to change. Nothing's going to change. What do I mean by that? The left is going to go, gun control. Going to change nothing. The right's going to say, more security. Nothing is going to change. This comes back to what I've been talking about forever, and that is people are unhappy. What we have been doing is creating an environment that creates unhappy young men with nothing to lose. As I've been saying for years, are the most dangerous creature we have. Young men with nothing to lose. They're dangerous. You cannot stop them. Let me say it again. You cannot stop them. They have nothing to lose. They don't care about the law you make. They don't care about the punishment they'll take. They die anyway. They don't care. You cannot stop a young man who has nothing to lose. That is the problem that I keep bringing up and people don't understand. But they're all going to act like they try to push something. And I'm going to show a couple chunks of a couple things. This is from Crystal and Friends. This is from Crystal and Friends. And I'm going to see if I can push some of this forward. A couple pieces they brought up, which made me upset because of how they tried to act. Like it mattered. Like it meant something. And they all tried acting that way.
Today, have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Crystal?
Indeed, we do. We're going to start with that horrific news out of Minneapolis. Yep. 2 dead after a mass shooting. We'll break down what we know about the shooter. He did post a manifesto, so we'll get into all of that. We also have
this. Not good.
The question from Matt was, how are the injured students doing? I believe all of them have their parents with them now, and they are all expected to survive. All of the remaining victims are expected to survive. There is a range of injuries, however.
At the end, that the remaining victims who were injured are expected to survive. But 2 lives taken here, just absolutely horrific. Apparently, what had unfolded is at this Catholic school, which is for kids grades K through 8. they have an annual tradition of a back to school mass. And
now this guy knew there was an annual tradition of the back to school mass because he went to this school. So he knows. So he decided he was going to show them. He knew. He was well aware what he was doing. I'm going to show in a second. He was well aware of the damage that he would create. He was well aware he wouldn't survive it. So I want you to try to understand something. This is a guy who planned this, wrote a manifesto, knew that he was going to be ending children, K through 8. Knew that. He wasn't, oh my God, I walked in and there were kids there. No. He knew it. He knew the amount of pain he was going to cause his family. He knew the amount of pain he was going to cause all these other families. He knew everything he was doing. And you think gun control is going to stop that kind of man? How dumb are you? Or how ideologically broken are you? Or what's wrong with you? Or you think stronger laws, you think that's going to help? You think a cop there would have helped? He brought 3 firearms. Why? To take care of law enforcement in case it was there. That's why he did it. If law enforcement was there, he'd taken them out first and then done this. Yes, your stupid laws and your rules are not going to stop this. It doesn't matter. That's what I mean by it doesn't matter. The pain that these parents are going to keep forever. They will die with that pain. They will never lose that pain. Never. I almost lost my daughter. I didn't even lose my daughter. I am blessed. I did not lose my daughter. I almost did, and it still haunts me. And that was over a decade ago, and it haunts me. And I didn't even lose my daughter. If I lost my daughter, I'd be a mess. I'd be a mess. Their pain never goes away. Ever. No matter what you do. Well, the school, they should have more security. Why? Let me tell you what a school should do. Nothing. I'm not joking. Nothing. Go back to living. Go back to praying. Go back to teaching. Don't let the guy who did this wreck your life anymore. We learned this from 9/11, didn't we? We changed our entire country from 9/11. 3,000 Americans dead, but a nation destroyed. A constitution burned to the ground over this. Nothing. The answer is make people happier. It's not more security, more rules. It's not going to bring the kids back. They're gone, snuffed out.
The murderer here actually had attended this school and was likely familiar with this tradition. And he shot through the windows. So he didn't come into the school. He actually shot through the windows. Yep. And that was the way he was able to create this mass carnage. CNN actually interviewed one of the 5th grade students who described what he saw unfold and the way one of his close friends was actually shot and injured during the melee. Let's go ahead and take a look.
And Phil brings up a point over on Rumble on this. He says, I want to highlight one story. Thank you for the $1, Phil. One boy interviewed in the news said how his friend covered him and sheltered him from being shot, and his friend was hit. In a world of villains, celebrate heroes. Yes, celebrate the kid who did the brave right thing. Celebrate that kid and move on. Celebrate that kid. But Larry, what about the rules? They mean nothing. After Buffalo and New York, we added, I'm not joking, 10 new gun laws. We still have mass shootings in New York. What happened? Those 10 new gun laws that are supposed to stop mass shootings, they put Dexter Taylor, an innocent black man, in jail. That's what they did. Did they stop mass shootings? We just had one. We just had one. Yeah, the answer is do nothing. Live your life. You have children left. Support those that you have left. Honor those who did the right and brave thing. And keep
Listen
going.
to that.
The shots fired, and then he kind of like friend got scared for him.
their children, the kids who were, directly injured, hit by gunfire, and are, now having to deal with these horrific injuries that may impact them for their whole lives. But then you also just think about a little kid like this and what sort of trauma he's going to experience. I mean, the horror of
trauma. You're right. So what's the answer? Gun laws. What? Remember Sandy Hook? What was that? 12, 15 years ago? When was that? At least 10 years ago. We passed tons of gun laws since then. Still. No difference.
Having to interview kids about experiencing these mass shootings and what this is going to do to them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's right. It's very, very difficult, to just not only, we've covered a number of these, and to watch kind of the way that it all unfolds.
Always the same thing. And what are we going to give us? Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers.
It's just so horrific to target children.
Patty says, a Sandy Hook teacher moved here, and I've talked to her. She is forever scarred. Yes. And you can add every gun law you want. You can put cops around every school. That's the left and the right answer. Left answer is more gun laws. Right answer is more cops. You can do either of those things. And she will still be scarred. She will take that to the grave. You know what will make it better? Never good. But make it better, Patty? Maybe better is the wrong answer. Maybe that's a better choice of words. You know what can make it less bad? Okay, maybe that's better. You know what can make it less bad? A community that supports that teacher. That can make it less bad. Happier people around her. Other children that she can help and assist. That can make it less bad. That we can do. Will we do that? No. That's why I'm so bothered. That's why I'm triggered by this, because we won't do anything. That's what we
first
should do.
Day of school. There's not much else on a human level that you can really say about it. In terms of the stuff that we've learned about the gunman here, almost immediately some of the social media postings came out and some of the identifying information, which has caused a lot of discussion. The local news actually in Minneapolis did quite a good job of compiling some of this.
There's a lot of stuff out here. Darkwood Presents says, yeah, but everyone has trauma. Real life is difficult. I feel sorry for a lot of people. True. I think your statement is true. But why would we want to make it worse than we have to? Why would I want to encourage people to lose their children? No. I get the point is taken, right? No matter what you do and no matter how you act, life sometimes is going to smack you when life decides to smack you. Doesn't matter if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're smart, if you're dumb, if you're whatever. I don't care. Wherever you are, good looking, not good, doesn't matter. Live in a city, live in a country. If life wants to smack you, you getting smacked. That's true. I'm with you. I don't have to encourage it though. I don't have to make it easier. If I'm going to have a community, Darkwoods, the community is supposed to make that easier. It's one of the reasons why we have communities. It's one of the reasons why humans create communities, to make tough life easier, or at least in certain cases, less bad, right? That's why you have it. You have communities. I'm sorry, in theory, we're supposed to. It doesn't work now. But we are supposed to have communities so that we can make things less bad for us, so that the odds of us losing our children go down. So the odds of us being attacked by a violent person go down. That's what's supposed to happen in communities. And generally speaking, if you have tighter communities, there is less violence. That's not 100% rule, but generally speaking, that's true. My worry is I want our communities to support us when the bad things happen. That's what I'm saying. I don't want people to be coddled or not coddled. I want communities to try our best to be together when we can. Voluntary communities that we are together with. So yes. So Dark says, I found that when I disconnected and relied on myself, life got much easier. I think for some people that's true. I think for most humans that's not true. But I think some are. I think it's true. There are many people who do well on their own. I think that does happen. And that's why you heard me say voluntary communities. Some people don't want to be with communities and they shouldn't be forced, right? But some, I would argue, I think it's clearly true that most people do want to be in communities. The majority of humans enjoy communities, want to be within communities. So I think we should allow people to do both. If you want to be on your own, awesome. Nothing wrong with that. Good on you. But most people do want to be in communities, and we should be having better communities. And that's why we have government. I mean, sorry. That's why we're supposed to have government. It's not how it actually works. That's obviously true. But that's what's supposed to happen. We were supposed to have a government that would help protect and create and assist communities. That was supposed to happen, but clearly that didn't work. Anyway,
this together. I know there's been quite a lot floating out there. Some of it actually was incorrect, but they did a good job of combing through the YouTube video that was posted, some 22-minute long so-called manifesto. I'm going to warn everybody, it is very disturbing to watch. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's very, unfortunately, having covered so many of these, all the hallmarks.
I got it. You covered so many. You're super cool, Sagar. This is another thing that I hear. Everyone's like, been there, Jeff. Yeah, I got it. You're super cool. I got it.
Marks of many of the previous ones, and in fact, some explicit ones of callbacks to previous mass shooters. We'll get into some of the potential, quote, inspiration and all of this in a little bit, but we're just going to show you in their own words. Again, I'm going to warn everybody.
Okay, let me be very clear. Inspiration, every time you hear that, is bullshit. Let me repeat that. Inspiration is bullshit. Whenever they say that, they're trying to create a villain, a bad guy they can attack. No one, I'm going to be very clear, zero people, not one, zero, have been inspired to go unalive youngins. Zero. That's not how it works. You have to already have that in your head, and then that becomes an excuse. No one goes, I watched the movie. I'm going to go unalive kids. That's not a thing. Doesn't exist. Not a thing. Never happened ever. That's bullshit propaganda. Never believe that.
This is disturbing to watch, but let's go ahead and take a listen.
One of the more jarring images from the videos is this one, the arsenal of guns and ammo on display. Something many of you may have noticed is the written words and names on some of the weapons. One of the guns says, "Kill Trump," and others have the names of notable mass shooters, including Rupp now, likely a reference.
Now, I brought this piece up, Bob, because yesterday I was talking about left-wing violence. And some people will and there's a big thing like, oh, it's all the lefties and the transes and all that stuff. That isn't the point at all. The point is the people who are violent are the people who believe they're losing. That's how that works. I brought it up yesterday and I bring it up again. It is crystal clear now, isn't it? The people who believe they're losing, those are the ones who become violent. The people who believe they're winning, they're not. You found far more right-wing violence when it looked like the left was winning, right? Now it looks like the left is losing. It is right now. It's losing now. So now you have left-wing violence. And if it changes, it will reverse. If all of a sudden, I don't know, next 2026, all the lefties win, if that happens, I mean, I don't see it, but maybe it happens. Who knows? All the lefties win and we go back to, I don't know, Kamala Harris is awesome or whatever we do. We go back to that, you'll see right-wing violence. You won't see left-wing violence. That's how it works. That's human nature. This lets you know the left is in trouble. That's how you know this.
To Natalie Rupp, now the suspected mass shooter in Madison last year. The name Robert Bowers is also written on one of the weapons. He was responsible for the deadliest attack on the Jewish community. We don't know when this video was shot, but there is a reference to tomorrow. Take a listen.
Tomorrow.
Yep. John says it. That's the argument how they blame games or movies for individual actions. I hate that they're the perfect scapegoat for deranged people. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, and people would commit suicide, they blamed Dungeons and Dragons. That was the reason. He was playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's why he killed himself. Yeah, it's not true. But that was the evil one back then too. Yes, absolutely. Paula says, young men might be seen as losing. True. Yes, if they feel it, they will act that way. Yes. You get it. This is why Paula, if you've been watching, you notice I often worry heavily about young men. Not that young women aren't affected. They are too. Don't get me wrong. Of course, if young men suffer, young women by default suffer, right? Of course. I'm sorry, young women who are looking for young men suffer. And that's the majority of young women. They're looking for young men, they're going to suffer, right? Obviously. But when young women suffer, they go on TikTok or they get tattoos or they scream or whatever. They do that. When young men suffer, they build camps. You know what I mean. They put on armbands. You are correct. That is my worry. That is my worry. The men will become violent. The women won't. They'll become angry and whatever, but the men will become violent. Yes.
I'm sorry to my family. But that's it. That's
so he knows. He knows. I'm sorry. Yes.
It's really disturbing to listen to. In addition to the guns and ammo, the video also flips through these pages of what appears to be a manifesto. It's addressed to my family and friends, saying in part, I'm a sad person haunted by these thoughts that do not go away. I know this is wrong, but I can't seem to stop myself.
He's still doing it. Yes. He's still doing it. Yes. Absolutely.
In another video, this one, Westman shows a different letter written in another language and ending with this.
Yeah, John says, point out right-wing violence on the, oh, sure. That church shooting in was it South Carolina? Church shooting, that was right-wing. And those who were violent on J6, obviously not all were, but some were, yes. They thought they were losing. Yes, this is human nature, John. If you think the left is better than the right or the right's better than the left, they're all humans. It's how it works. You will find more right-wing violence when the right believes it's losing. You'll find more left-wing violence when the left thinks it's losing. That's how it works. That's just human nature. That isn't left or right. That's people. That's how it works. So yeah, you can find it. Of course you could. So, Liberty Lady, thank you for the super chat. $5. Hochul is a clown. True. Stefan is delusional, along with anyone who thinks New York is changing from blue to red. There's only one option for New York. His name is Larry Sharpe. Oh, you're not wrong. Great super chat, by the way. Yes. Guys, if you want your chat to go right to the front or right away, you can always, oh, excuse me. I had a burp all of a sudden. You can, of course, super chat me on YouTube or you can rant me on Rumble. They go right to the front. I try to grab those right away as soon as I can. Phil gave me a rant and D gave me a super chat. So thank you guys. I appreciate those. They all count.
Map. It appears to be of a church.
Look at that.
Possibly a critical.
He knew he was going after a church.
Clue for investigators.
So we were seeing there the drawing of the map, as you said, Crystal, the connections there to the school, including the mother of the gunman who apparently had worked there. But really, all I could take away from this, and this really fits with our ChatGPT story, is just the way that the internet is. I'm not going to say enabling because it's blaming, but
this is what got me triggered right here. I don't think, I have never seen Sagar come up with so many bad takes, one after the other after the other. I'm telling you, him getting married and having a kid has wrecked him. Wrecked him. This has become, as I call it, Crystal and Friends. That's what this show is now. Now he's blaming the internet. I'm not joking. This happened because internet. You might as well say Dungeons and Dragons. You might as well say whatever. It's not internet. That's yes, 100%. So that's what he's saying. It's internet. It's not. Mike Voss in the house. He goes, it was rock music in the 80s. I remember that. Yes. D&D was the 90s. Yep. The media needs to scapegoat to ignore real core issues. True, and true. Absolutely. I remember that. Yeah. It was the music. It was whatever. Ozzy Osbourne was why you were killing people or whatever, right? No, Dungeons and Dragons. That's why everybody, yeah. That was, it's always something other than our society and our parents. Never can be those two. Never can be those two.
But we are just witnessing these darkest corners of the internet. Encourage, inspire, work together, perhaps in some case, for people who are full-blown mentally ill.
We had, prior to the internet, people who were still killers, people who committed suicide. It happened before the internet. We had mass shootings before the internet, before social media. What social media has done is made people unhappy. I keep going back to that because that's the issue. Literally nobody, 0 people are like, I'm a happy person. What? There's a post on Facebook. Kill everybody. Never happened ever. Never happened ever. Ever. I go on the internet. I'm already sad. I'm already unhappy. I find other people. Yes, of course that happens. And it used to have to happen through actual meetings or via mail or that kind of thing. It couldn't happen so easily. This is true. It does happen easier and faster now. That's true. That's absolutely true. But happy people don't just go, I saw a meme, murder the world. That's not a thing.
To fulfill their worst desires and to try and get some sort of notoriety. Like, I don't think it's an accident, actually, that many of the hallmarks of the Christchurch shooting to Robert Bowers, so many of these other people were included in there. I know,
Oh yeah, Christchurch shooting also right wing for you, John. So there's a couple of them. You can find both. Again, there's a couple. You can find a couple of them. Christchurch. He gave me another one just now with that one. So there we go. There's another one right there.
Of the discussion here is that this is part of also kind of the sickness of our culture. Almost immediately afterwards, there was.
Hold on. Darkwood says countries like Finland and Switzerland, despite high gun ownership, have not seen mass shootings in many years. True. And if you look at Finland, is often one of the happiest countries on the planet. Also, only 5 million Finns, and they're one of the most homogenous countries in the planet. I think only Korea is more homogenous than Finland. I think that's true. Finland's in the top 3. It's like Finland, China. I'm sorry, not China. Finland, Japan, and Korea they rotate in that area of the most homogenous nations. So yeah, so yes, you're right. It isn't about the guns. It never has been. It is about happy or unhappy people. And to your point, Dark Woods, if you like being alone and that makes you happy, you should be alone. If you like being with other people, you should be other people. You should be with the people that make you the happiest. And we as a society, we don't, but we should encourage everyone to go where they're happiest, whatever that might be. We should be doing this. But no one's saying that. They're like, we're going to make new gun laws, or now Saga wants to ban computers or something, or whatever he wants to ban now.
Kind of the using of the markings and of the manifesto to immediately start to try and make points. So, for example, like many of the anti-Israel sayings were immediately picked up by people who are pro-Israel to say, see, this is an inspiration of the anti-Israel movement. Or, for example, the shooter appears to have been transgender, changed their name sometime in the year around 17 with a signature by the mother. But if you put it all together,
and appears to be. Now, look, you guys know I'm not anti-trans, never have been. You know that. You're aware of that. But you also know that if the person, say, once spoke German, they'd be like, the Nazi! Guaranteed. But here appears to be trans. The guy's trans. It's fine. He is. It's fine. Oh, she is. Whatever. I don't know. Did he go by he or she? I don't even know. Whatever. I don't have a problem. Use the right pronouns. Who cares? Whatever. Kids are gone. I don't care if he's trans or not, or she's trans. I don't care. That's whatever. Whatever you might think. The person was left wing. Why? The person felt it feels like they're losing. They feel unhappy. Nothing to lose. Right?
Effectively, what we all witnessed was like the creation of the internet. I think you said something around, it's like almost like a Jubilee style creation. We have a trans Nazi here who murdered 2 children. All of the markings and everything there is purely a creation of the absolute worst dregs and part of the internet. And
so this is the internet's fault. Could it be the parents' fault? Could it be the community's fault? I don't know. But who's saying that? Did the parents know? He was putting this online. Didn't people know? Don't we have red flag laws in Minnesota? We do. We have red flag laws, right? We know because what's the governor? Waltz is the governor of Minnesota, right? We got red flag laws. What happened? So red flag laws didn't work. They're in Minnesota. Why didn't they go get his guns? Why didn't they go arrest him or whatever the thing is? Because none of these goddamn things work. Why? Because when someone has nothing to lose, they are unstoppable. There was literally a movie about this in the 90s. Oh, what was the name? It was Clint Eastwood and John Malkovich. And John Malkovich wants to remove our chief executive. I hate being on YouTube. And he says to him, he goes, if I had nothing to lose, you can't stop me. He just says it. You can't. I don't care what happens to me. You can't stop me. And he was basically right. I mean, in the end, of course, he's Clint Eastwood, so he stops him, of course. I mean, spoiler, like he didn't know the movie from the 90s. Anyway, but the point is, Clint Eastwood can stop anybody because he's Clint Eastwood. But besides the point, the concept is still true. It's not the internet, Sagar. It's not the internet.
So I don't know, like, everyone's trying to make bigger points and all this. And obviously, we've had debates, and my feelings on transgenderism and all of that are clear. But like my biggest takeaway here really is just about the role of the internet. And
so instead of his biggest takeaway being a young man planned, knowing, understanding everything he was doing by him posting the internet and expressing it, decided to end the lives of children and his own life, knowing that he would end his own life. And he put it in his manifesto. He knew he would. Wrecking the lives of these families. These families are wrecked. Wrecked. Knowing all that, his biggest takeaway is, the internet. Can you have a worse take than that? I don't know. I would rather hear the guns or the transes or whatever. I'd rather hear that than this garbage. Because I'd expect that, right? The right's going to go, oh, it's all the transes. And the left's going to go, oh, it's all the guns. Okay, well, I already hear this shit all the time. Fine. But the computers, it's the internet now. Dude, you're on the internet. You sure you want to go down that road? Like you make your money off the internet. You sure you want to go down that road? It's the internet. Wow. Phil over on Rumble, thank you for the $1. Rhetoric of a transgeno side on YouTube, sorry, seemed to indoctrinate people into violence the past 5 years. Yes, this goes back to my same thing I've been talking about forever. Larry, why do you always push third party? Larry, why do you always have an independent party? We got other bigger issues. No, we don't. You are wrong. We don't. Your left-right paradigm is the reason why this happens. Yes, Phil's correct. Because the left, as soon as something goes bad, goes, it's the end of the world. The right, as soon as something goes bad, it's the end of the world. So the right says, you're transing the kids, they're all going to be transes. That's what the right says. And the left says, it's transgeno side. You're killing all the transes. That's what they say. Neither is true. Doesn't matter. So now I get to be violent. It's the end of the world. I get to be violent. The end of the world. I get to be violent. He's right. Phil goes on to say, it seems like an attempt to get people to think violence at religious schools or churches are defensive. Yes, it's defensive now. See, he was being defensive as he slaughtered youngins. Defensive. You're not wrong. There will be people who will defend him. They will exist. They will defend him. Or will blame the internet, I guess.
I don't know if there is a plea or whatever to be made, but it's like, please just watch what your children are doing on the internet. Like there's almost just certain.
See, that's the answer. Just watch what your kids do on the internet. That's the answer. What a useless take. What a useless, worthless take.
That this is something that has been going on for years and years. All the hallmarks of mental illness, drug use, apparently in the past, which could possibly have contributed to a psychotic break, which.
Yan says, China, don't you get? No, you just abort them. You get them way before they even have a head. You're not wrong, Yan. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. China cuts them out right early on before they get a shot. So, yeah, you're right on that one. Yeah, hey, Yan. Sometimes when you're right, you're right. You are correct. No need to pop them in the head when you're off them in the womb. True. Well done. And the government does do that and has. So. Well done on that one, I guess. Nice.
Connects to all of this. And I don't know, to the extent that there's a national conversation or whatever, like that's the.
Patty says, other countries have the internet. No, they don't, Patty. Only America does. Clearly, ask Sagar. It's cause internet. Yes, it's cause internet. I know, Patty. I'm listening and I'm blown away by how dumb that is. Yes.
That's my biggest takeaway.
That's what
I don't know what else to say.
I mean, I think, what everybody wants to know immediately is, okay, how are the guns procured?
Of course. Everybody wants to know that because he says internet and she says guns. And what does he say to the guns?
Were purchased.
Of course. Of course. Okay, I think we're done here for these guys. Crystal and Friends is over, and you see why I'm bothered. They said more garbage, which meant nothing. But of course, what would you expect? More garbage, which means nothing. Yeah. More guns or the internet. You see why I was bothered. Let me start walking down. This is AMA. I took a lot of time. I know I did. I apologize, but this bugged me and I got a little triggered, so I had to go down that road. So let me keep going if I can. Mike Voss is in the house. Massive pew-pews have many different root causes. True. This case is blind gender affirmation and obvious mental issues. None of it justifies what happened. No immediate effort to minimize it. My issue with the gender piece is I don't know enough about the person. Sometimes gender issues comes from mental illness. Not always, but sometimes it comes directly from that. So who knows? I don't know if one caused the other or how that works. I don't know. And gender issues doesn't always mean that someone has a dysmorphia. It can mean that, but it doesn't always. So I don't know the details of that. I don't want to make a decision on that because I don't know enough details on it. But could be. It's possible. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Vivek asks, what do you think of Vivek Ramaswamy? What is something you like about him? And what is something you don't like about him? How do you think he'll do as governor of Ohio? I'm not sure he'll win the governorship, to be forward with you. I'm not sure he will. I mean, he might. I'm not sure he will. I think Vivek is very much untested. I think he's savvy in the way he speaks, but what he has not done, to me, if you're asking my opinion, he has not shown me a list of policies and how they will work. He is very good at rhetoric, but I haven't seen his policies. So if he can't do policy well, he will fail. That's what I would say. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Michael's going to say, U.S. will and should never adopt the gun culture of other nations. Gun culture is not the problem. Broken people and criminals are. True. Adding culture controls will only make it worse. True. Agreed. That's true. All righty. Let's see here. John says, Minneapolis, blue states, blue city, unarmed school, soft targets. This was an incident waiting to happen. Need to find a balance between compassion, victims, families, and facts. Yes. Agreed. Absolutely. Roy says, clearly hopes and prayers have been working. I wish they were, because we got lots of them, Roy. I wish they would work, because we've been given so much of those. It's crazy. We've been given so much of that. The issue here is, as always, we have to create a culture that stops making young men feel like this is the right answer. He felt like it was the right answer. He wrote it in his manifesto. He thought, this is the right answer. I like that. This would work. That's what he believed. We know that he believed that because he literally wrote it. He wrote it down. He believed it. Shelley says, gun-free zones are a huge sitting duck in the middle of a hunting season, and that's a pathetic fact. True. Very true. Yes. Kim says the establishment doesn't want anything to change. Correct, because they can keep using these crises as an excuse to wield more power, to build more prisons, to make more laws, to do everything except the most important thing. Give us several things that I've been talking about. Number one is to make an environment to where people believe they have a chance at success. Gen Z does not believe, as a whole, obviously, I'm painting with a broad brush on purpose. Gen Z, as a whole, does not believe it has any real chance at success. Millennials hardly believe it. Gen Alpha does not believe it at all. At all. So why not do this in their minds? Why not? What's to change? Men who have purpose don't do this. I spoke about this literally in 2018, 7 years ago. I said, give a young man purpose and he won't go do mass pew-pew. He won't do it. Why? He's got stuff to do. I'm not joking. If that guy had stuff to do, if he had places to go, people to visit, things to achieve, if he had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I don't know what he was into, whatever, right? If he had a girl, or both, or girlfriends or boyfriend, whatever. If he had a lover, right? He was in his 20s, right? If he had a lover, right? Any of those things, he wouldn't have done that. Why? I got to go see my lover. I got to go build a car. I got to go fix a chair. I got something to do. You have nothing to do but make dumb videos on TikTok and paint Russian stuff. Right? That was it. Paint Russian stuff. Yeah. Roy says men are dangerous, but of course men also win wars and lose wars. Both. They do both. Yes. Markel says, I'm out. Oh, I don't know why you're out. What did I miss? All right. Anyway. Hope you come back. So, Network says the law has a long track record of injustices. True. Some of the worst crimes in history, slavery, genocide, oppression, were carried out legally by people who believed they were just doing the jobs. True. I'm not sure where you're going with that one now. But thank you. I'm happy. This is a AMA, so say what you have to. All good. Shelly says, churches have armed guards in the pews in the circles where I church. Most are LEOs, current or retired. Yeah, because New York, you have to. If you want to have a firearm in New York, you basically have to be a former or current law enforcement. So, yeah. And remember that story in Texas? Some guy tried to do a mass attack in Texas, and the guy put him down. Guy fired like one round, got put down. Yes. New York doesn't have that. Minnesota doesn't either. Minnesota has very strict gun laws. Waltz. New York, very strict gun laws. Very strict. And the last couple of mass killings here. So guess they're not working. Huh. That's weird. That's weird. Yeah. So, all righty. Let me grab some more of these. Missy asks us, please share this out on all platforms. Let everyone know Larry's live now. She's correct. Guys, if you can, please share this someplace. It doesn't matter where you share it. Actually, it doesn't. Share this, repost it someplace, wherever you do. It does matter. Pop it into a Facebook group or something. If you haven't clicked the like button, please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please do so. It does matter if you can. I would appreciate it. If you feel really excited, and I hope you do, you can become a member if you want to. A member on YouTube, $49 per month. Click that join button. Helps me do more of this and less having to work so I can come in here on time and do interesting things. Do that if you can. And when you become a member, you can come on the membership show, the members show. You will be here with me while others watch. You can this Friday, not this Friday, next Friday, September 5th, 8 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you guys there. Members get that. Please jump on the show. Become a member. Be great. So yes. All righty. See. John says, no more trading liberty for safety. True. Yes. Yes. Lila's with you. She says, unfortunately, more laws will not change how stuff ruin things. Yes. More praying is not a bad idea. Yes. Go back to doing what made you human. Go back to doing what kept you and your community together. Yes. Kim says, if you lost your daughter, you have a very different mindset. I agree. I'm with you. I agree. I'd be blaming people too. Yeah. In fact, you remind me of something. There was Sagar had another bad take on this one. There was a guy, a youngster who ended himself and blamed ChatGPT for it. And the parents blamed ChatGPT. And Sagar and Crystal and friends are basically like, yeah, it's ChatGPT's fault. Look, I'm not mad at the parents for that. I'm not. Because to your point, Kim, I think if I lost my daughter, I'd be the same way. I'd be blaming somebody. Your fault, Kim. Why did you do this? Why didn't you? I'd be blaming that. Of course. How am I going to sit there and think it on myself? It's probably a mental self-defense mechanism, right? I'm not mad at the parents when I was a kid, when their kid was playing Dungeons & Dragons and they offed themselves and they blamed Dungeons & Dragons. I get it. I would be thinking the same thing. I don't want to accept the fact that I may have been part of that thing. I wouldn't want to. Self-defense mechanism. I got it. It doesn't mean society has to react, though, right? Understanding how a parent would be broken and would be emotional and would say all types of things if they lost their kid. I understand that. I'm not mad at the parent for that. Again, Kim, I think I'd be the same. I would be the same blubbering mess. I would be too. It doesn't mean society has to react and go, okay, let's change everything. Okay, let's wreck everything. It doesn't have to do that, though. That's all I'm saying. So, Smite says, people love slogans, and MAGA unite Republicans. Libertarians have infighting. All true. Could a slogan, Make America Free Again, help rally the party and attract disillusioned MAGA supporters? Huh. Mafa? Mafa. We could try it, maybe. Maha sounded Mafa. Maybe. Make America Free Again. Look, I'm open to the shot. Maybe we'll try it. Look, if what the Libertarian Party and Libertarian movement needs is a slogan, I'm in. I'm not against it. If it can work, let it work. Let it work. Carl says, I'm confused by your statement. I'm not sure which statement. Guys, remember, I don't always get to see these as they come up. So if you want me to actually respond to it, let me know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Phil says, I lived through a school shooting. The teachers holding us back made me feel less safe. Oh, I felt like teachers weren't making us victims. I felt like teachers were making us victims. Wow. Wow, that is a very interesting way of thinking. And you were there. Wow. So I lived through a school event. The teachers holding us back made me feel less safe. I felt the teachers were making us victims. I'm trying to think of myself. I've never been in that situation. What would I have done as a youngster in that spot? I think as a little guy, if I was like 9, 10, like a little guy, I think I would have just run. I think that's what I would have done. Probably like jumped out of a window or something. I think that's what I probably would have done if I was a little kid in that. I think, I mean, I don't, obviously I've never been there, so I'm completely guessing. And the closest I remember is I was in a car accident as a kid. It's true, interesting, cool. I was in a car accident as a kid. And probably I was like, I don't know, 8, 9. I forgot. I was young, elementary school. And so a car hit our car and the car spun. And when the car spun, I was in the back of the car. The window was rolled down and it was the summer. Once the car stopped spinning, I literally jumped out the window. I jumped right out of the window. Why? Because I was a kid. And if you remember, all the only car accidents I've ever seen was on TV. And on TV in the 70s, I'm giving my age away, but in the 70s, whenever there's a car crash or car accident, the action shows on TV in the 70s, what happens to every car? If you're old enough, you know, they blow up. And if you watch any 70s show with a car crash, it goes and all of a sudden, boom, blows up because cars just blow up. So I thought, oh, the car's gonna blow up. So I jumped out the window and I ran off. Thinking the car's gonna blow up. That's what I did. So I can only assume that I would have jumped out of a window. I don't know if I would have. If I was older as a teenager, if I was a teen, I never listened to any of my teachers as a teenager in high school. So whatever they were saying, I would have done the opposite. So if they said stay, I would have done the opposite of what my teachers would have told me if I was a teenager. So yeah, I know, me be a rebel. Surprise. That's what I would have done. So anyway, Michael says, we are in a post-bureaucracy world. They have failed in their mission. Get to the business of living your life without expecting government solutions. Good one. Yes. Yes. Dark says, bring back sanctioned boxing, wrestling, and contact sports. 100% Darkwoods. I remember when they got rid of them in the Marine Corps. In the Marine Corps, they used to call them smokers. That's what it was called in the Marine Corps. And they got rid of them right when I was in. When I first came into the Marine Corps, you could still do smokers, which means literally you had a problem with somebody. You could say, I'll see you in the gym with boxing gloves on in the ring. And whatever happened, happened. That was the thing in the Marine Corps. That went away in the 80s. When when I first got in, it was still a thing. Then it became you couldn't do it anymore. So yeah, you had a problem? All right. And usually you'd say, because for those of you in the military know this, you go by military time. And the day tends to end at 16:30, which is 4:30. And then you go off to chow. So you'd often say, I'll see you 1800, which means 6 o'clock. After you eat, then you go to the smoker. I'll go back to I'm with you voluntarily. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Yes. All righty. Let me grab here is. Okay. Michael's going to say part of the problem in this case is the blind gender affirmation. I agree. Look, I have kids in cities with kids worried about their gender and all those things. I get it. I cannot stand zero affirmation therapy. Affirmation therapy is harmful. It hurts people. It's not neutral. It's harmful. And for those who don't know what affirmation therapy is, difference in affirmation therapy and like psychotherapy. It's two separate things. Psychotherapy, even talk therapy, if it's done right, is about questioning, having conversations, figuring things out, trying to do that. Affirmation therapy, which is what most therapy is today, sadly, because it's very lucrative, is validating your bad behavior. You might go, Larry, you're exaggerating. I am not. Ask coaches, ask therapists, ask trainers, they will tell you. The money is in affirmation. So, Mike, you come to me and you do bad, terrible things. And I go, you know what? You got to do you, Mike. That's what it is. The rest of the world shouldn't worry about what you do, Mike, because what you do is what you do. And you're great and awesome. And you're doing terrible shit. And I'm just saying, no, it's fine. That's their problem, not yours. That's affirmation therapy. That's very lucrative because Mike loves to hear that shit. Oh, I can just be bad and I'm good? Yes, you are. You keep coming back. And you keep writing me checks. And I keep telling you how awesome you are. And your life is garbage and stays garbage for decades. And you pay me for decades. And I keep telling you how awesome you are, even though you're doing terrible shit. That's affirmation therapy. Gender affirmation is the same. And it's bad. It's harmful. If someone has a gender issue, you should use it just like psychotherapy, that same concept. Let's have a conversation about this. Is this real? Is it not real? Is it you being unhappy? What is it, right? Don't get me wrong. There are people who are absolutely trans. There's no doubt they exist. All the people who say they are? No. That makes you angry? Too bad it's true. Too bad it's true. There's a whole lot who aren't. And if they didn't have affirmation therapy, you'd be able to divvy those people up and know which ones really require help, which ones need to make changes, and which ones just need to make their life better. And they're all mixed. But affirmation mixes them all together and trashes it. You are correct, is a terrible thing. You need real conversation, real talk to figure out where you actually are in life, not just, well, yes. Again, though, Mike, to my earlier point, there's a lot of money in this. Gender affirmation, ton of prescriptions, which is money, ton of surgeries, which is money, ton of this, which is money. So, okay, some people need it. Okay. But what about the thousands who don't? Yeah. So Carl says, and now New York City wants to ban cell phones in school. Here's my issues with that. Here's my issue with that. Am I against schools banning cell phones? I'm not. Am I against the law? Yes. I go back to what I always say. If local schools want to make decisions based upon how they deal with their kids, that they should have, whatever, put the phones in the bags or not or whatever, let local schools deal with those issues as they see fit with the parents and kids in those schools. The law is a bad idea. But if you want to, you should be able to. Why not? And here's the best part. If you do it in school A and it works, school B may adopt it. If it goes in school A and it fails, school B may not adopt it. Let the local schools deal with it the way they want. That's the answer. And the parents decide it. If parents say, no, I require safety of my kid, I want a kid having a phone, and the parents want it, it's their kids. Let them have it. But we can't teach them. You don't teach them now. Our school system is shit now. You're not saving anybody. Stop. So try it if they want or not. I'm okay with that. Yes. Kevin says, the second your child tells you they are trans, it's time to get psychiatric help. Would it help if the kids had a psychiatric test done each year to try to get ahead of the problem? The problem with testing kids that way is you're encouraging them to have a problem, right? But look, the reality of it is, how do I say this the right way? If parents are taking care of their kids effectively, open with their kids, have good conversations, they'll hear these things. I heard these things from my kids. I'm not paid to be specific because my daughters are around and don't want to tell them details, but let's just say my daughters had questions. How about that? But they came to me and talked it through. And to Mike's point, and I go, yes, I guess the weird thing you're feeling now as a young kid coming up is 100% true. I didn't say that. I didn't say they were wrong, no, either, because I didn't know if they were. I went, okay. Go to school. Okay. Do your homework. I changed nothing. I practice what I preach. I changed. Okay. You think this? Okay. What do you want for dinner? Done. No extra attention. No extra, you're a champ or you're awesome because you're this. So let's buy you a flag or some shit like that, which is what parents do, which is what makes the kids get more attention, which is make them walk down that road. Don't give them any extra attention. And if it stays, it's probably real. And if it goes away, it probably wasn't. Larry, you think you're smarter than the average person? I'm the average therapist? Yes. Because I am smarter than the average therapist. I am. Most therapy fails. Yes. My work, I can't be a therapist because that would be against the law in New York State. You have to have a license to be a therapist in New York State. I know you're laughing, but it's actually true. So I don't do therapy. I do work with people. That's what I do. Mine usually doesn't fail. That's why I get paid. Also, people use me and then leave because they feel better once they're done. So am I better than most therapists? Yes, I am. And the market has proven that to be true. The market tells me that. I don't care what you guys think. The market has told me I'm better than most therapists. So I know I am. So don't give it attention. If it stays, it might be real. Give it attention. It will stay, whether it's real or not. They're kids. They want attention. So when I say, I think X, and you buy me a flag and say yes and change how I dress, I keep it because I get attention. As dumb as that is, that's true. And if you think it isn't, you don't know kids. That's how it works. Anyway, I went off the deep end. That's your fault, Mike. I'm blaming you for that. That's your fault. So there we go. Darkwood says, we can agree to disagree. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, we can. I'm glad you're here. Let's do more of that. Christine says, Sharpies are a pretty cool community. Also true. Yes. All righty. Shelley says, this is why we were taught fairy tales, so we learn coping skills to deal with the violent world. Hansel and Gretel in German is a great example. Yes. Those fairy tales for kids, they were violent. Yeah, they were. Absolutely. Yes. So, all right. Paula says, what is the most important thing we as individuals to encourage other communities in our neighborhoods? Physical gatherings, Paula. Reasons to get together. Number one thing, if you can. Reasons to get together. It doesn't matter why. It does not matter. I do it. I'm doing it this weekend. Literally, I'm going out to 6 events this weekend, giving you reasons to come see me. Many of you who are watching this show have physically met me someplace. Many of you have. Some of you met me many times, right? So the number one thing, reasons to physically get together. If that young man who is now dead, who offed all those kids, was going off to a weekly cool meeting of people, whether he was playing Dungeons & Dragons or coming to my political events, whatever, he was doing that. He does not commit that act. Doesn't do it. I'm not joking. He doesn't do it. The kid who ended himself with ChatGPT. If he wasn't in ChatGPT, he was instead hanging out with us, he went off himself. He wouldn't do it. Biggest thing you do for your community is find reasons to get together physically. Find a reason. Is it meet somebody? Is it we're all gonna go line dancing? Is it we're all gonna watch a movie? I don't care. Find reasons to get together. That is the number one thing you can do, Paula. Find reasons, whatever it is. Yes. All righty. Let's see here. Shelly says, yes, Patty, we learn to recognize a violent person and actions before it happens so we can escape violence. Mm-hmm. That's true. Yes. Paula asks, is Maha taking hold of America? Is RFK having any meaningful impact on Americans eat? Yes. Now, here's the issue. Well, yes to the second one. To the first one, no. Maha is not taking hold. Ooh. All right. That's a tough question. I went back and forth. I totally dodged number one. So I'm going to go back to it so I don't dodge it. How do you define taking hold? Here's what I'll say. Is the majority of America on RFK Jr.'s side? No. The majority of America is not. So taking hold, as in taking more than 50%? No. Does Maha now have a chunk of America? Have they like put a foothold on the beach? Yes, that's true. There is a chunk that Maha has now. That's true. But they have not America has not embraced Maha. I'm not trying to be mean. You asked the question. I'm giving you the truth. America has not. Do they have a hold, meaning they have a foothold someplace, a beachhead? Yes, that's true. It's as if when the Allies invaded France, we've taken a beach. Like a beach is taken, but the war ain't nowhere near over. But a beach is taken. That's what I would say. Meaning of impact, yes. More Americans now are thinking about their food and their medicines and not trusting the government as much than ever before. So yes, there is impact. Is it meaningful? For most Americans, no. For a huge chunk, yes. And again, the same idea. We have a foothold. We're on our way, but we're not there yet. That's what I would say. We're on our way. So yes. Phil says, Rabbi Sharpe, not a therapist, but wise counsel. By the way, if you look, you see that NeoSage? NeoSage is my company where I do my consulting. NeoSage means literally new wise man. That's what it means. And underneath it, when I put this together, it's underneath, it says, you can read it, ex alto concilio victoria. What does that mean? From great counsel, victory. So it means when I made this, I put this together 20 years ago, 15 years ago. No, I rebranded 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I rebranded 15 years ago. So yes, this is NeoSage. It used to be the NeoSage and then a different logo, a far worse one. This one's much better. If you notice what this logo means is, this is a shield, which means defense. It is the sun, which is enlightenment. The key, which is the key to success. And then a knight, which is the only chess piece that can move around things. You don't always want to go through. You want to sometimes go around things. So it's strategy that gets you to go around things. So yes, Rabbi Sharpe, not a therapist, is a wise counselor, ex alto concilio victoria. So yes, and that was 15 years ago. So yes, the market has already told me that I'm good at what I do. Doesn't matter what someone else might say. The market's more important. So anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate that. All righty. John says, I grew up in the era of Mortal Kombat, GTA, and slasher movies, all of which can be and are used as excuses to commit violence, which is despicable. Nowadays, everything seems to be political. Yeah, but were we more violent during those times? I don't think we were. I mean, gangbangers were in the 90s, but that's black market gang violence, which is always bad, right? It doesn't change. Black market gang violence is always bad. That's always a bad thing, right? Always. All right, let's go down here if I can. Phil goes on to say, since it is so likely that they will meet cruel enemies, let them at least have heard of brave knights and heroic courage. Otherwise, you're making their destiny not brighter, but darker. Agreed. Let's be very happy about the heroes that we have. So, yeah. All right. Patty says, why is this mainly a USA issue? We're unhappy. We are unhappy. And of course, the thing I bring up all the time, which people don't want to hear, wealth gap. Wealth gap matters. The right ignores the wealth gap, and the left says, well, just steal from the rich. Both are the wrong answer. Both are the wrong answer. The wealth gap's a big deal. The right has no answer. It doesn't exist. And the left answer is steal from the wealthy. Yes, it's a big deal. I bring it up all the time. It matters. People judge themselves by their peer group. We judge ourselves by people around us. And if I got one guy making $1 gazillion and I'm having trouble eating, I'm pissed off. You can go, that's jealousy. I don't care. It's human nature. Maybe it is jealousy. I don't care. It still makes me angry. I still don't like it. I still get mad. I don't care if it's jealousy. It's still human. You can't unhuman humans. Doesn't work. They're still humans. So I don't care if you can make an excuse for it. It's still true. And then I have a son who sees it. a son who sees his mom not doing well and struggling, a son who sees his dad hammered by a court system, maybe even put in jail, a son who sees no future, nothing, and is mad, and then watches some people go off on a jet and fly someplace. That person decides that violence is the answer. That's how that works. We should stop that. John says 100% sharp. Yes. Thank you for that. Yes. All right. Craig, I'm not sure if you're talking to. Stop tolerating delusions of mentally ill. He was clearly delusioned. I'm not sure. By him saying I was born the wrong. I'm not sure what you mean by that part, Craig. But I'll walk down this road. I'm assuming it's for me. I'm not sure if it is. I literally tolerate mentally ill. You have to assist them, help them in some way, or they become violent. So you want to say, okay, you're in trouble, right? I'm not saying this guy's gender issues were mentally ill or not. I don't know that. Now, there are people who will say, and I bring this example up all the time. There are people who will say that no matter what, body dysmorphia is a mental illness, blah, blah. I don't care if it is or not. This is a virtue signal that's irrelevant. If someone is having gender issues, they're having problems. Let's figure out if this is a real problem or not. What I mean by that, some people have really body dysmorphia. That is a thing. Some people have that. Some people just feel depressed and start blaming things and then get a good attention from being different. And the different thing happens to be gender. I don't know which one's which. So we should say when someone says it, let's start talking about it. That's to Michael's point. Let's not do gender affirmation. Let's do actual gender therapy and see what is it. Is there an issue there or not? Sometimes there isn't. Sometimes this person, they'll talk for a week, 2 weeks, a month, have no change and go right back to being who they were. Sometimes they won't because it's a real thing. But when you affirm it, they just go there. So yeah. And again, let's say that he had that mental illness. Okay. He's got it. Does that make you kill people? No. But when you believe, to Phil's earlier point, that the left-right paradigm is screaming at you and you have no chance of survival and there's going to be a transgeno side, which is not a real thing. But when they tell you that and you hear that, you think, okay, I'm now defensive when I go do these things. I have no choice. He said that. I can't stop myself. Now, clearly he could. But does it matter? He's dead. How am I going to punish him? How am I going to bring the kids back? Doesn't matter. So, Darkwood says, well, they believe the school has indoctrinated children to hate and unalive transgenders. Yes. You're not wrong. That's my point. You perfect. Yes, you're not wrong, Darkwoods. You're correct. And that's the problem, right? They think that this goes back to the other thing I keep saying. Scolding doesn't work. Scolding doesn't work. It never does. So, yeah. All righty. Grab some of this if I can. Mike says the language was Czech/Russian. Says he called for help and that he was evil. There was worse in manifesto. Yes. That's true. And yeah. He spoke in a lot of people feel that Russia is like a special place, like the last hope for Eastern Orthodoxy, for real Christianity. So maybe that's why he did it. I don't actually know if that's why he did it or not, but he might have done it for that, almost as a cruel joke, maybe. So, yeah. So, all right. Darkwoods goes on. Darkwoods, a lot to say tonight. Okay. Most violent people use violence when they think there is no other way. Now that this is delusional, it's just more prevailing in delusional people. True. However, most people, I wouldn't even say violent people, people resort to violence when they think there's nothing else. Not even most violent people. Most people do. A lot of violent people became violent. They weren't. I mean, some people obviously were raised with violence, obviously, somewhere. But many became violent. So I would remove the violent piece up front. I would say most people, when it gets there, yeah. So, all righty. Paula says Ted Kaczynski is being seen as a hero to many of the younger generation, even Greta Thunberg quotes. Yeah, and okay, Paula. Yes, you are reinforcing my point. What was he all about? He was all about one important thing. Technology is going to make us unhappy. If you look at the core of his message, technology is going to make us all unhappy. It wasn't like he was wrong. He was right. So, all righty. Paula goes on to say Columbine was before YouTube. Kinda. There we go. Kinda. So, all righty. Let me grab some of this. So many. I appreciate all of these. And there's an AMA, so I'm trying to grab as many as I can. You guys gave me so many of them. I'll try to keep going here. So, yes. Dave says, Larry, playing vinyl records backwards when I'm doing. Oh, yes. I remember that when you had to play the record backward and it was telling you to, it was the devil telling you to do stuff. Yes, I remember that. We're giving our age away, Dave. We're giving our age away. We're not youngins. I mean, I look young, but we're not youngins. It's true. Yes. Miss the same thing. I remember that, Dave. 80s Satanic Panic. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. All righty. See, Paula says, Korea, Japan, and Lesotho. I just read it the most homogenous per I think you mean capita, not per capita. Oh, is that true? I knew Korea and Japan. I think Finland's up there though, isn't it? Hold on. Now you're making me, you make me work, Paula. Hold on. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Finland is up there. Hold on. Maybe it's just in Europe. Could I have made that mistake? Could it be because of Europe? Could have been that. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, highly ones are Greece. Oh, so Finland's gone down. Okay, Finland used to be. Maybe it isn't anymore. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Yeah, no longer. Yeah. Back in the day, Finland used to be. I guess that has changed. Yes. But no, still, it is still those two of Japan and Korea. Those are the two. And also, according to this, also Mongolia is what I'm seeing also. So there we go. Those are homogenous in the world. According to Yahoo Finance, according to, I don't know if you guys trust Yahoo Finance or not. It looks like some of the most mixed countries, as they call it. One of them is Uganda. I would have never thought that. There we go. Something interesting. By the way, where Mamdani was born. Thank you for that, Paula, for clarifying. I appreciate that. All righty. Mike says, Saga is parroting the major media distraction from the core issues in this case. This part, Mike, is my issue with Crystal and Friends. Crystal and Friends is becoming CNN. And this is another example of it. It's becoming CNN. Absolutely. Yes. So it's crazy. All right. Andrea says, if they have nothing else, it's an hysterophobe. True. Yes. Yes. John says, Larry, the issue with the trans part of this is the mental health aspect. They tend to struggle more with mental illness, also likely to be on pharma drugs, which you discussed in the back. It is true. Yes. If you have gender issues, the 5% is the odds of you being on heavy pharmaceutical drugs do increase. That's true. They do increase. That is true. Again, I'll be clear, it doesn't mean if you're trans, you're violent. I'm not saying that. But I do think the odds, the chance of you being on heavy pharmaceuticals absolutely go up. That's true. Yeah. So. All right. Hold on. Someone's mad at the poll. Hold on. What happened with the poll? Is the poll not clear? I got people who are mad at the poll. Who's mad at the poll? Did we mess the poll up this time? Hold on. I think we messed the poll up. Hold on. Let me see if we can get the poll up here. Did I mess the poll up? Let me find it now. And I'll see if I can. What is the poll? Hold on. Nope, I got commercials popping up here. All right. There we go. All right. Got commercials. What Night helps the. Oh, what might? I think it's what might. That's what. Okay, yeah, it's what might. Let me finish this here now. Where is it? And now I'm missing it again. What might help stop events like the Minneapolis church shooting? Oh, what might help it? Deeper connection to religions, more gun control. Oh, okay, all right. Now, I get it now. I see it now. Took me a couple seconds. Now I got it. All right, let me keep going here. Patty says the rise in suicide rates in the U.S. in 2025 highlights the growing mental health crisis. True, absolutely true. That's accurate. And what are we doing? Remember, I brought this up a million times before, right? I brought this up a million times before. All of these mass violence is always the same thing. It's a public suicide. Again, I said this on Rogan 7 years ago. I've been saying this for years. They're public suicides. Happy people don't commit suicide, which means happy people don't do mass killings. This isn't rocket science. We need to focus on making people happy. More community, more girlfriends, boyfriends, more children, more family, more purpose, more pride, better jobs, more stuff. All the things that make people happy and give them a reason to not do this. Give them a reason to say, no, I don't want to do this. But we're not doing that. We're saying gun control or more cops. Both bad. Christine says, it's the gun's fault, Larry. The cuckoo that pulled the trigger isn't that fault. True. This is what I've been saying. We've come up with this already. The problem is our gun laws punish the shooter and our gun laws should punish the gun. See, if we put the guns in jail, problem solved. True. Yes. Paula goes, In the Line of Fire is a great film. My husband and I love that. Great. Malkovich. Yes. He was great in that movie. Line of Fire. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. All righty. I am way behind. I'm still on Yan. I'm sorry, guys. I got to catch up. I'm behind. I got to keep going. There we go. I got to keep going. All righty. Let's see here. Patty goes on to say, other countries have violent video games, movies, and music too. True. Japan has some of the most violent games. They're not violent. Yes. They're not violent. Yes. All righty. Kevin says, Larry, the media keeps saying motive is a mystery, yet he wrote a book on his guns. What are they afraid of? Alex Jones called out he was trans yesterday, morning hours before the mainstream media. Yes, it doesn't fit a narrative. They want to make sure it goes to a left-right narrative. Yes, absolutely. Yes. All right. Is Yan yapping back and forth? Okay, I missed this one. Okay. So Mike goes, I'm going by the manifesto. Yeah, look. If you're unhappy that the person is trans, I get it. Maybe you have trans friends or you're part of trans community. I have many trans friends. And you guys know that I've had them on the show, right? I'm a fan of people who are trans. I have no problem with them at all. I have many friends who are all good. It doesn't mean this person isn't trans, right? If I'm black and sometimes there's black guys who do bad things, I don't go, he's not black. I don't do that, right? If he's black, he's black, right? If he's trans, he's trans. It's just what it is. Right? I'm not concerned. I don't judge every trans person by that. I don't judge every black person by that. That would be racist and bigoted. I'm not that. I'm sorry. I try not to be that. Maybe I am sometimes, but I try not to be that at least. That's what I'll say. I try not to be that. That's true. So yeah. Clearly this was a motive. Clearly this was left-leaning mass violence. Clearly this was. And if you want to act like it wasn't, you can if you want to, but you're fooling yourself. Network Metron says, revolutions revolves back to the same things. When it is evolution of the minds. Revolutions revolve back to the same things. When it's evolution of the minds. Interesting. That's actually very Chinese thinking, right? Chinese always think it all goes in cycles. So even when you rev revolution, it still winds up being the same. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right. Polo says the Walmart Marine who stopped the knife-wielding maniac should have been there, or any man for that matter. True. Yes. True. All righty. All right. Larry want to come. You asking me to come to China? Is that what you're asking me to do, to come to China? I've been to China. It was a long time ago, though. I actually enjoyed it. When I went to, I spent 3 weeks, I think, in China. I think I went to Beijing, Xi'an. Oh, gee, 3 more, Hong Kong, and 2 more cities. I forgot which ones I went to. It's a long time ago. But actually, I thought China people were nice to me. I enjoyed. Of course, I was very touristy, so I didn't really get to see that much details of the. I'll give you an interesting story when I was in China, Beijing. I think you may enjoy this. This is probably 20 years ago, so I'm sure China's different now. But about 20 years ago, I headed over to China, and on my way over there, I stopped by. Was it Singapore or Hong Kong? I forgot where it was. Some stopover, and I've got time in the airport, so I'm walking around the airport, and I find a guy who has a Stephen King novel. He's sitting reading a Stephen King novel. He's a white guy reading a Stephen King novel. So I assume he speaks English. I assume he was American or British, I assume. So I go over to him and I say, "Hey, man." And he has a French accent. So was French, but just spoke and read English. So he's like, "Hey." I said, "Hey, are you going to China too?" He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm going to Beijing." I go, "Oh, Beijing." I said, "Hey, if you're in Beijing and, where's a cool place to hang out?" He goes, "Oh, I'm going to tell you. It's a place called the Poacher's Inn." I said, "What?" He goes, "Called the Poacher's Inn. It's great. You'll love it." I said, "Okay." I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you write it down?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Can you write Chinese?" He goes, "Yeah, he told me he lived in Beijing, had a wife there, whatever." I said, "Okay, right." So he writes it in Chinese. So I take it, thank you, put it in my pocket, take off, right? Head to Beijing. And I had when at that time, I don't know if it's still true, but at that time, you couldn't go around China without a guide. You couldn't leave the hotel without a guide. You had to have a guide when you as an American on a tourist visa. You could not leave the hotel unless you had a guide. So when I went there, the tourist guide, my guy's name was Ben. He had an English name. His English name was Ben. So he goes, "All right, buddy, head inside to the hotel. It's over, whatever, for the day. Don't leave. I'll see you in the morning." He leaves. I go upstairs and I have a roommate. And roommate's a guy from Denmark. His name is Mike. And I say, "Hey, Mike, I'm going to go out. You want to come with me?" He's like, "No, we're going to get in trouble." I'm like, "No, come on." He's like, "Now we're going to get in trouble." I said, "God, place we're going to go. We're going to go to Poacher's Inn." He's like, "What? Yeah, I know." He's like, No. So he stays. He chickens out. I take off. I get dressed. I walk right past the guards. There's military guards in front of my hotel. I walk past them like I knew what I was doing. Walk right by. Boom, boom. Jump into a cab, right? So into a cab. I don't speak Chinese. He didn't speak English. Didn't matter. I had my piece of paper written in Chinese. I just went here. And that's when I learned, I did not know this, that every place you go in the world, everyone understands okay. I pointed to a piece of paper and I said, "Okay." He looked at me and went, "Okay." And that was it. Took me to the place. He takes me to this place. And it looks like an old wrecked place, like a place being built or under construction. And the door is just like that construction plastic, the clear plastic. Like when you're building up, you move through the construction plastic, like you're going to like a cold house or something, like a freezer or something like that, right? That's them. I'm like, okay, there's no lights, no street lights anywhere. I'm like, this guy's taking me to be jumped. So literally I get out and I'm like ready to scrap. I give him the cash. He drives off. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get jumped tonight. Two white guys come out from this place and they're talking English. And I said, "Hey." And they go, "Hey, don't go in yet." I said, "What?" He goes, "Don't go in yet. It's not good yet. It'll be good in about an hour or two. It's French night. It'll be good in about an hour or two." So he tell me, I go, "Oh, so where you guys going?" "Oh, we're going to the place to get a drink." I was like, "Can I come with you?" Like, "Yeah." So I go down. And these guys start telling me about how one of these guys owns the place and he's officially like married, but not married to a Chinese person. And the reason why it's all knocked down and all bad is because it's against the Chinese law. He actually can't have the place because he's not Chinese, so he can't own it. So he has to bribe all of his. This is true story. This guy's telling me the story. He has to bribe all of his neighbors so they don't tell the cops. So when the cops come by and go, "Hey, there's some, he guy was British. Does this British guy own his place?" They're like, "Nah, don't know what you're talking about. Don't know nothing." Because they're all getting a cut. So he's bribing all his neighbors to cover him. So the neighbors all go, no, this is broken. But I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing. So I hang out, right, with them. Then I come back about an hour and a half later, we go back together. And this place is rocking. It's French rap night. This is probably 98, maybe 99. I forgot when it was, but something like that. It's French rap night. It's rocking. European, Australian, American men everywhere, Chinese women flocking, trying to get, trying to pick up European, Australian, American men all over the place. Great night, by the way. True story. When I was in China, I got back early in the morning, got like an hour of sleep, and then went on a tour afterwards. My guy, Ben, never knew. My Danish friend, Mike, never sold me out. So no one found out. So interesting story. So yeah, and I have been to China before. I've been to Xi'an. I've seen the Terracotta Warriors. I've seen those places already, so I have been there before. So anyway, interesting story for you guys. I hope some of you think it was kind of cool. So, all right, let me keep going. Robert says, Vivek is the same person who said he wants to raise the age of voters unless they commit to some kind of service. I think not. Yeah, I don't know. Right. Robert, I'm torn on him. I think he speaks well. He's got good rhetoric. I think that's true. But I don't know where else you go there. I think he has a lot of work to do. It's my view. I could be wrong. He does speak well, though. So, all right. Network says you either are aware of the programming or you've been programmed. Governmental program. Yeah. And I tell you, the funny part is, you know you've been brainwashed when you know you've been brainwashed, right? When you don't know you've been brainwashed, right? So I get your point. You've got to be looking for it. So yes. Okay. Grab some of these. All righty. Robert goes on to say, America needs to commit itself to a justice-minded politique if we're ever going to have a chance at rescuing this whole nation. I'm not sure what that means. My worry about that, Robert, is what you see as justice, I may not. What someone else sees as justice, someone else may not. That's scary to me. My worry is, what does someone think about justice, right? Do I think justice is I take your stuff? Do I think justice is you take my stuff? Do I think justice is punishment? Do I think justice is specialty? I don't know. Maybe. So Craig is in the house. He says, Nevada must be responsible for the weapons. Just ask Queen Kathy. That's true, right? Whenever there's weapons that come out, it's because the other states gave them. That's what she says. I'm not joking. Craig's not joking either. That's what my governor said. The reason why there was a mass pew-pew in New York was because other states. That's the reason. Because other states. So yeah, that's the reason. Paula says, how would you reach Gen Z? The way you reach Gen Z is by giving them the hope of independence. What Gen Z actually wants, more than anything, what they actually want, and they won't tell you this, they don't know that, but I know what they want. Yes, I know what they want. Larry, that means think you're super smart. Yes, I know what they want. What they actually want is independence. They are stuck with their parents or stuck with their roommates, or stuck in a dead-end job, or stuck. They feel stuck. They feel trapped. That's how they feel. And the reason why they feel it is people are disappointed not because bad things happen. People are disappointed because expectations are not met. They were lied to for years, Paula. They were told, don't worry, take the test, follow the rules, all that stuff, and everything. There'll be an awesome job and a hot boyfriend or girlfriend waiting for you once you graduate your awesome school and have no debt because you're amazing. And yeah, they were told that, and it was all a lie. And they feel cheated. They feel trapped. That they'll never be independent. Most of them think they'll never own a house. Have them think they'll never own a car, at least a new car. They won't. We have to get them to see that there is hope and they can be independent. That's how you reach them. That kind of message can reach them, that they can be independent. A lot of them want to be like, they want to be able to have a job that, this was true about millennials too. And when I used to do a lot of work with businesses, particularly with New York City agencies, I would teach this. I would say the difference between Gen X and boomers versus millennials and Gen Z, right? There's a kind of gray area in between those two. And that area is, do they try to achieve or gather meaning and purpose through work. You might go, wait a minute, what do you mean by that? Do they? Well, the Gen Xers do. They don't have to. Why? Because boomers and Gen Xers, we had third spaces. What is that? Particularly boomers. Gen Xers too. What does that mean? I could make my job just be a job. It's a thing I do every day to pay my bills, and I gain my other glory or my other purpose or my other respect or my love through some third space, through my church, through my civic group, through my union hall, through something, right? It's something else outside, my family, my friends. I gain it through something else. Now, some Gen Xers and boomers got that through work. Some did, right? But if you didn't, it was okay because you got it someplace else and you would still go to work. Starting around millennials, it became the majority of people started getting it through work because they didn't have third spaces. Those began to go away. Their relationships began to fail. They weren't getting it someplace else. They didn't have families, right? It's going away. Gen Z, it's gone. They don't have third spaces. All they have is maybe the internet, to Sagar's point. That's all they really have, right? So they don't have boyfriends, girlfriends. They don't have third spaces. Right now, the youngins can't even go to McDonald's anymore because they get banned from McDonald's. So what do they have? Work needs to be their purpose. If there's no purpose in work, they don't want to work. Now you might go, well, the Gen X didn't want to work. Yes, but they would work. They wouldn't want it, but they wouldn't quit. Millennials are the ones who started quitting. Millennials said, there's no meaning in this work. I'm out. They would just quit. Go home, live with ma. Go home, live with dad. Go get a roommate. Whatever. Gen Z just goes home, live with mom, or has 3 roommates and they pay enough to have internet and they're online all day. They're quitting. They're checking out. I told you, almost up to 10 million men now. Just checked out. And then millennials and Gen Zs checked out. They won't do it. So you want to reach Gen Z? Purpose, independence. You show them a way to get independence. You show them a way that there's a real chance they can actually buy a house, a real chance they can buy a car, a brand new car, a real chance they can find a girlfriend, find a boyfriend, a real chance. Show them that, they will respond. Don't show them that, you get men checked out and pew and women crying on. You get men playing video games all day, women crying on TikTok, and children being off by mass pews. This is what you get. We are creating this. We are creating this. It's just true. So, yeah. All right. Where can I go here? So many of these. Okay, Robert says, I don't know how much I agree with Larry about giving young men purpose, keep them out of trouble. Surely you can overschedule their day with activities, but purpose comes from within. I'm not overscheduling people. No. Okay, maybe I wasn't clear. Let me try to be clear, Robert, if I wasn't clear. I don't mean that now I create play dates and stuff for my kids. That's not what I mean. I mean, find a purpose. One thing I do with my kids, and those of you who met my kids, you probably see how I've done this. I go out of my way to make sure that my kids are always creating. That's what I say. I go out of my way. I'm a big nudge. They probably, if they were listening, they'd be like, yeah, he does it all the time. I'm asking, are you creating something? Make a lie. What do you mean create? I don't tell them what to create ever. I don't care. The biggest example I'll give you, I remember this is many years ago. My oldest was playing Minecraft and I was watching her play Minecraft and I thought, oh, is she just screwing around? Just playing a game? I don't mind my kids playing games at all, as long as they're also doing something of value, creating something. I don't care what it is. So I looked at what she was doing and she actually, I think I told the story before, she actually made an actual Subway restaurant down to details in Minecraft. Like it looked like a Subway restaurant, right? In Minecraft. And I was like, oh, she's making stuff. She's good. I walked away. My youngest likes to write. So write something, create something. My oldest now will actually do, she will bake. I'm not joking. She will bake keto stuff. She will design clothes. I don't care, whatever. Make something, create something. I don't care what it is, right? I create content, great stuff. So when people start creating stuff, they begin to realize they can do things and they start creating and having purpose. Having purpose could mean taking care of someone. Having purpose could mean a job. Having purpose could mean writing a book. It could be anything, right? So I don't want to give people. I want to create an environment where they gain it. So I hope that was clearer. So Darkwood says, I don't need external validation. Not sure I buy that. Most people do, but say you don't. Okay. Just because you don't doesn't mean that most people don't. Most people do require external validation. And you cannot like that. It's still true, right? Most people require it, need it to feel validated. Most do. Maybe you don't, and that's okay. Again, good for you, man. And I'm not being flippant. If you don't, good for you. Validate yourself as you see fit. But you should, you're not required to. You should, if you care, maybe you don't. But if you do care, you should recognize that most people do require it. That's just it. Most people do. So, all righty. Let me walk down this road some more. Christine says, we can't have law-abiding citizens defending themselves. That would make too much sense. True. People would hate that, wouldn't they? They would absolutely hate that. That would be terrible. All right. Let me walk down some more of these if I can. All right. Okay, Patty says, you are more likely to become disabled than become a billionaire. Just a reality check. Yeah, agreed. And to be forward, Patty, I don't think most people even care if they're billionaires. I mean, some people do, and some people strive for it, and they want to. Some people do. But I do think that the vast majority of people want to have a comfortable life. The vast majority do. They want to have a comfortable life. That's it. Yes. So, anyway. And people can be happy, right? They can be without having to do that. So, all right. All right. Mike is mad at me now. He wants me to hurry up. So I'm going to try to get ahead. I'm way behind in the chat. So I apologize. You guys give me a lot of stuff. So I'm sorry. So yes. Roy says, one thing that perhaps libertarians, small government conservatives, and liberals could agree upon is that if more people could be encouraged to live their lives and or come forward to get help with their struggles without gender or mental illness stigma, then there would be more freedom and less untreated desperate people. Agreed. And that's why you see me, Roy, I don't attack people for having gender issues. Some people do. It's just true. I know some people don't want to believe that, but they do. It exists. It's a real thing. Some of it is just a mental illness. Some of it is a serious problem. Some of it is just someone who's having I'm not making up, who's, particularly if they're younger, particularly when they're kids, they're having a struggle. They're struggling, and it becomes this because that's the thing of the day. And that might make some of you angry, but that's still true too. And we have to be out there, to your point, without stigma, have the conversations and see what it is to help people who need help. Yes, I bring up Sarah Higdon all the time. Sarah Higdon is a friend of mine. She's been on the show more than once. We've done events together, literally at Freedom Fest and such. We've done events together. She got banned on Twitter. I tell the story often, but it's a perfect story. She said, literally, this was her words, I have a mental illness, body dysmorphia. She says, I present as a woman because that's how I feel comfortable in my body. That's what she said. She said, if I could take a pill and feel comfortable in my male body, I would take the pill. I just want to feel comfortable in my body. That's what she said. Now, you might agree or disagree or think she's wrong or right, whatever. It's her body, her experience. That's what she said. Twitter banned her. This is before Elon, obviously. Twitter banned her. Why? Because she said that she has a mental illness. That is the problem that we have, Roy. She has an issue. Deal with the issue. Now, she has said, again, I'm using her words. She says she is a biological male and she presents as female. That's what she says. Some people get mad at her for that. Why? It's how she feels. Let her. And some people say, no, I'm a woman. Okay, I'm not going to fight you now. I don't care. It's fine. You do you. I'm not going to ban you for either of them. Right? And then she said, people got mad when she said, if I could take a pill, there's no pill, obviously. But she said, if there was a pill and I could take it and feel comfortable in my own body, I wouldn't present as a woman. I'd present as a male because I feel comfortable in my body. That's what she said. Boy, did people get mad. They got mad. And that's silly. I want people to be happy. That's what I always talk about all the time. All the time. I'm sorry. You're correct, Roy. That was a very long-winded way of saying yes. I probably should have just said yes and moved on, but Mike's going to be mad at me now. So anyway, Christine says, Larry, what do you think about putting welfare back in the hands of churches, taking the burden off taxpayers and building community? Two parts to that. One, I love the concept, and there's I have an actual policy to help make that happen. All right. Here's the problem. Literally 60. Oh, I'm going to be off almost literally. I can't say literally this because I'm not sure. It's about 60. About 60 million Americans get a check from the government every month. There is no way physically that churches could pick that burden up overnight. Couldn't do it. And I go, Larry, do they all need that money? That isn't the point. The point is people right now, many tens of millions of Americans are depending upon that cash. So would I like to get them off that cash? Yes, I would like that. But I don't want to punish them and make the world end for them while doing that. Would I like churches and other civic groups to take that over? I would love that. That would be amazing. And here's the reason why I would love that. When the government, say I'm in trouble, I can't pay my rent, or I don't have food for my family, insert problem that I have. And whether it's my fault because I screwed up, or whether I just got unlucky, or bad things happen, whatever. I got sick, I can't pay my rent or my bills, right? So I go to my local, in this case, church or civic group. I would just say civic group. This way, if it isn't a church, it could be a masjid, it could be a temple, it could be a whatever. It could be a Knights of Columbus. It could be a VFW, right? Whatever. It could be whatever. A civic group. If I go there and I go, hey, I'm in trouble. Can you help me out? And they go, yeah, you're part of our community. Of course we can. Here's what our program does. We pay whatever, half your rent, or we give you food, or whatever's the program that the local community has created. If that actually happens, and it's me and you, Christine, we're there, right? So when I go there and I go to help, it's you, Christine. You're the one who goes, yeah, I got you, Larry. Here's our plan. Shelly's there too. She's helping out. And you guys give me the food, or you give me the check, or whatever is the way you do it. And now I go and I pay my rent, or I pay my bills, I get my food, whatever. I do that now. How do I feel? I feel like my community supported me. And now, Christine, when you reach out to me and go, hey, Larry, next week we're having a fundraiser at so-and-so. We need somebody to man the booth. Can you show up? I go, yeah, I'll show up. Now I'm hurting financially right now. You know I am, so I can't give you the money. But I got time. I ain't got a job, so I got time. So I will show up at the booth and I'll man it. Yes, I'll do it. Why? I want to pay it forward. I want to give back because my community supported me. Now I want to support them. So now I'm growing. Larry, you're making it up. No, I'm not. Look at your American Legions. Look at your VFWs, how that happens. And I was just up in Lewis County just last weekend. There's a group up there that is helping out school kids with families who don't have enough cash to put enough supplies for the school kids, giving out like backpacks and crayons and stuff like that, right? Giving out backpacks and stuff. Place is packed. Why? The people who they gave come back. They give back. It's community. They've been doing it for 11 years. Keep doing it. I was shaking hands, kissing babies there last week. Happens all the time. Now go the opposite. It's the government. I'm in trouble. Same situation. Can't pay my rent. I go to my government program where I go in. I fill out a form. What's your this number, that number, the other number? Okay, you're on. Check comes in the mail. And now what do? I complain. Why? I deserve that check. Why? Because I'm an American. I deserve it. I paid my taxes. It's mine. And blah, 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 blah. Do I want to give back? No. Why? It's government. I don't want to give back. I don't know about you, Christine. I don't know what you do. Whatever. I get my check. I'm entitled to that. I'm entitled to my check. That's how I feel. The outcome is the same, but my feeling is totally different. Community grows. So yes, I would love that to happen. The problem is it's a massive task, and I don't want people to suffer horribly while we make that transition. So one of the policies I talked about, and I've been bringing this up a while, is if you're, and this is for New York State, you do it for any state in theory, at the end of the year, you owe the government money, whether that's through fines, fees, taxes, whatever, you owe the government money. You can take $250 of that money if you want to, your choice, and give it to a nonprofit in your state. If you want to, up to you. It's voluntary. If you like your government, give it to the government. If you don't, give it to a nonprofit. If it's in your district, in your county, it's double to 500. Like $500, Larry, what's that? What happens when 1,000 people do it? 10,000 people do it. That's real money. But when that happens, those local things can now start taking charge of these things and giving back. They can start doing it. that sets it in motion. That doesn't solve the problem, Christine, but it sets it in motion. And it still allows for the government to exist as a safety net in case this fails. To eventually where community grows strong enough to deal with it, and then the taxpayers don't deal with it anymore because community can become strong enough to support itself. So that was another very long-winded way of saying yes. Boy, Mike's going to be screaming at me in 5 minutes. Yes, absolutely. It will take it. Yes. All right. Go down here. Darkwood says, the worst gun incident in my school was when I was growing up, was one kid bought a gun from another kid and was in the bathroom and stall, and he shot himself in the leg. That's impossible. That couldn't have happened because kids selling guns is illegal. It's against the law. And we know that when you make gun laws, things stop. So that you're obviously lying, Darkwoods. That could never happen because that's against the law. And so, done. Sorry. Don't mean to call you a liar, but clearly you're a liar because gun laws work. Ooh, okay. I'm teasing you, obviously. That's when I was all cars were Pintos in the 70s. The Pinto that exploded. Yes, you remember. I am behind. Mike, you're right. Damn it. I am way behind. All right. I'm going to try to catch up. I'm sorry. Let me keep going. You guys remember the Pinto? Jesus Christ, the Ford Pinto that the gang site blew up. Oh, you guys, yes, absolutely. Okay. Larry had the code blue like in A Few Good Men. You can handle the truth. Yes. All righty. Let me keep going down here. Roy said, Carl, I'll tell you, bad men start wars and win them unless good men fight back. Ooh, I like that. I like that. That is good. Yes. Let's see here. Dark Woods, well, you got some tough stuff here. I witnessed 7 people die in a building by a gang. The gang was gunned down. I was the only survivor. He goes on to say they cut the throats of the people I was staying with. I still think I can hear the gurgling, especially when I'm trying to sleep. Horrible, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's horrible. I have a feeling, I mean, I don't know this, obviously. I have a feeling you're going to keep that for a very long time. You're probably going to take this to the grave with you. My hope is, and I don't know you, so I don't know, maybe my hope is unfounded, but my hope is that you would take the horribleness of that event, recognize how fortunate you were to survive, even though you were burdened with this trauma, which you clearly are burdened with. Again, probably till they put you in a box one day. You're probably still going to have until that day. And then recognize that you can now use that because of the street cred that gives you to make change in that arena, right? If I go into certain arenas and try to make change like that, I don't have that kind of street cred. They might listen to me and they might not. Depends. But someone like you who has that kind of street cred being through that, you can make change because of that street cred. I hope you would choose. You under no obligation, obviously. I hope you would choose to do so. That'd be my hope. So thank you for $2. Germany has tithes as replacements for some taxes. Not a bad idea, right? Again, not against it. I like that concept. I just would like it to be any civic group. So a nonprofit could be a church. I'm not against churches at all. Temples, masjids, enjoy whatever's appropriate. Not against any of those things. Whatever. Yeah, I like that. So, all righty. If I can go down here, there's so many of them. I'm gonna try to get faster, Mike. I'm trying to get faster. All right. Let's see here. Phil says, Darkwood's glad you made it out. See, there we go. He's glad you made it out too. Yes. Okay. Christine says, hey, maybe we stop telling kids around 98 genders. You're a girl or a boy. If you feel awkward as a preteen, welcome to puberty. It'll pass. Well, funny is, the piece here is, why would we, assuming that you're going to say there's more than 2 genders, right? I'm not saying it's true, but assuming you're going to say that, why would you name them at all? If you're going to walk down that road and say, well, gender is fluid or whatever, okay, then that should be what you say then, right? But the difference is the all police. And let me walk down that road, what I mean by that. I say I can't say all because I'm going to get attacked by the all police. If you were to say, describe a human to me, well, a human is bipedal, bipedal, walks on 2 legs, not 4. Has 2 arms with 5 fingers on each hand. You'd say, yes, correct, right? The Alpists go, no, not all humans have 2 legs. Not all humans have 10 toes. True, but we know what we mean when you say it, even though we know there are outliers. Stop being insulted. It's silly to be insulted by that shit. That's a heavily American thing. And the American thing we've done is, if you're not mainstream, whatever mainstream is, by some default, you are less than. We have decided that culturally. And that has wrecked us for years. Wrecked us for years. I'm not mainstream. Doesn't mean you're less than. You're just not mainstream. You're not the norm within the median, whatever that the mean is, right? Whatever. The vast majority of humans have 2 arms and 2 legs. Not all do. Most do. So if you said, what's a cat? A cat has 4 legs. Not all cats have 4 legs. But saying that doesn't mean that if you're a cat with 3 legs, you're not a cat. It doesn't mean that. It also doesn't mean that you're a bad cat. You could be a very good kitty. You could be and have only 3 legs. So this is our problem. If you're going to say that, either just say fluid and say, there's 2 genders. Do some people have issues? Yes. Done. Problem solved. There's 2 genders. But do some people have issues? Yes. Done. Problem is solved. But we don't. There's only 2 genders. But what about this and what about that? Okay, they exist, so. But now you're saying they don't exist, or you're trying to, there's a genocide. No, I'm not saying that. Please stop. Please stop. And I don't even say genders. There's 2 sexes. I don't care. Let the gender go. I don't care. I don't care. There's 2 sexes. Are there exceptions? Of course. Humans have 2 arms, 2 legs. Are there exceptions? Of course. Humans see through their eyes. Are there exceptions? Some people are blind. Of course. So I don't know why we get so wrapped up because people are so insulted on shit that doesn't matter. And I'm gonna go back to Dark Woods right now because he's here. I hope he's still here. I'm gonna go back to it. Do you think anybody gave a shit when they were cutting the throats of the people that he knew? What gender they were? Nobody gave a shit because it didn't matter. Nobody cared. Did it care if someone, walked on 2 legs or limped? Nobody cared. They're dead. If you watch people he knows got killed. Does he care? Those people who had their kids killed by that shooter, is it worse or better that the person's trans or not? No, it doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? What if he's not? So they're still dead. What if he is? Still dead. What if there's 55 genders? Still dead. What if there's 1 gender? Still dead. Doesn't matter. What I used to tell my kids when my kids would watch like TikTok videos about people and talk about their gender and such, I was also the same thing. I would say, if anybody's telling you, anybody, that their number 1 personality is their race, their ethnic background, their gender, they are broken. They are broken. What's your personality? I'm gay. You're broken. What's your personality? I'm black. You're broken. What's your personality? I'm a woman. You're broken. What's your personality? I'm a white guy. You're broken. You are broken. If that's your personality, you're broken. I don't mean to be mean. You need to be fixed. You have the problem, not the rest of the world. You are far more than just that one thing. And if you believe that, you're broken. So when my kids will watch that, I will go, do I tell you that my personality is I'm black? Like, no. Or that I'm a man? No. That I'm straight? No. I mean, that I'm keto, yes, but that's different because keto's magic. That's the keto's exception. Except for keto, which is magic. So that's exceptional. With that exception, who cares? If that's your personality, you're broken. You need help. If someone tells you, well, my personality is I'm this thing, they're broken. They need help. This shit's not that important. It isn't. It isn't. Not that important. Anyway, Andrea says, Larry, you're better than a therapist. You help keep us sane. Thank you. I appreciate that. Mastermind says, if therapists were smart, they'd be called doctors. Nice. Paul says, most therapists keep it to therapy. True. Yes. Roy says, therapy often isn't effective because the best way to deal with harmful thoughts isn't more thoughts, but action. Yes. And have you hit it perfectly, Roy? Roy's 100% correct. 100% correct. Those people who work with me know I rarely even ask why. I don't go back to your mom and your dad because I don't give a shit, because it doesn't matter. My answer is, what are you going to do now? How are we going to work now? You're exactly correct. Moving forward, taking control, taking charge, taking action is what works. But the problem with that, Roy, is if you take action and get better, you don't come back to me again. Damn it. I'm going to get paid. So no, you're wrong, Roy. More talk, and more dollars, and more talk, and more dollars. Yes. There we go. Yes. So anyway, thank you for that one. I do appreciate it. Shelly says, Larry's quick to recognize and aptly respond to this chat when there's an emotional issue that needs to be addressed. And I think that makes him great and why you'd be a great governor. Oh, that was sweet. Thank you. That was very sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. Phil says, from High Council. But isn't that what I said? I said, great. Yeah, high. That's true. Yeah, High Council also works. That's the point. Very High Council. Yeah. There we go. So, any case, I hope that was interesting. I hope that whole story was interesting. That was it. Kim says, I love this show. It's very therapeutic. Larry's very truthful and intuitive. Oh, wow, guys, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying my best to do that. I'm trying to do that. Yes. So, Liberty says, how are we going to do without our therapist until Monday evening? You'll have to watch older shows. There we go. You'll have to watch older shows. So that's the only thing. Patty says, Larry, something funny. I watched a TV show the other day, and the prostitution ring was called Consulting Company LOL. Yes. Well, yeah. Well, think about that. Bring this up. If I remember right, they were talking about the legal brothels in Nevada, and that the average appointment is for 45 minutes. Some go an hour, some go long, but the average appointment is 45 minutes. The average act of doing the mambo is 7 minutes. So what are you doing for 35 minutes or whatever? That with 38 minutes. What are you doing for 38 minutes? Don't take that long to take your clothes, right? Or whatever you do. Or if they take clothes off, I mean, who knows, right? Whatever. Don't take that long. They're talking. Yes, they're talking. There are YouTube channels filled with women who used to be high-end escorts. And they give advice to wives on how to be better wives because they were high-end escorts. And the vast majority of people who use escorts are married. The vast majority are married. It's like 90%. The vast majority are married. So they're married men who their wives no longer service them in the way they want to be serviced. I'm not judging whether that's right or wrong. I'm not making a judgment call. Who knows, depending upon the marriage. But whether you like that or not, that's true. As far as the husband is concerned, the wife is not servicing him as he wants to be serviced. That's clearly true, whatever that is, and you take that any way you want. So they go someplace else. And they stay married, but they go to high-end escorts. And there's escorts now who are like, you go to YouTube and they'll tell you, hey, wife, here's what to say. Here's how to act. I'm going to keep your husband from coming to me. It's a true story. So yes, absolutely. Robert says, yes, the racial wealth gap must be tended to because the reason why descendants of slaves have such an unbalanced wealth gap is because they were made black. There's some truth to that. I actually walked down that road. But the problem with that, Robert, is while there's truth to that, America no longer cares. That's the sad part. I wish America did. It doesn't. So we're going to have to find better answers. But you're not wrong. And I've expressed that in a show before. If anybody cares, you can watch my my Juneteenth show from, I think it was 2021, I think. Do Juneteenth show. You'll see it. I literally go through an hour and a half of covering what Robert talked about. It's accurate. It's true. So yes. Mashmanawa says, the New Testament is a direct remedy to the violent, angry God of the Old Testament. Accurate. Old Testament God is real pissed. New Testament Jesus, he's good. I like New Testament Jesus. Old Testament God, that guy's mad. K. John, leave it at $5. Therapists usually don't have this many patients at a time, so there's a small tip for keeping all of us sane. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yes. I hope I'm trying to keep some more people sane. I'm trying to. So, all right. All righty. Let me grab some of these. Grand Regent Thrag says, not sure how gun laws restrictions would have stopped this. He had no red flags. Actually, he did have red flags, and the problem is they failed. And that's why I'm against red flag laws. He posted this. People saw this and knew, and either didn't tell the cops or the cops didn't say anything, didn't do anything, one or the other. And very often The cops don't do anything. That's a common thing. They don't. Yeah, we see it all the time. So yes, I think that's very true. So, all righty. Grant says this guy would have passed every single gun safety background check. He might have, but red flag laws go past that, and they don't work anyway. So the reality of this is someone who knows him, right? There's no requirement for red flag laws if people who know him step up, right? People knew him. They saw this. People knew about this. We're going to find out more about this. I don't doubt that the cops knew something about it, got a phone call. I bet they did. I don't know that yet, but I'm going to bet that by the next 2 weeks, we're going to hear that. Oh, yeah, the cops stopped by or someone said them, because that always happens. The cops he's known to local police or something. That will happen soon. So when that comes up, it'll be like, why didn't they do something then? You don't require red flag laws because you could, if you wanted to, take care of it. They just don't. That's the issue. They don't, and they should. So yes. 4IM says Ted capered their lives today. He did. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So yes. All righty. Liberty says the nut jobs of moms demand action on gun violence don't help either. Those bored housewives have been chipping away at Second Amendment for a while. They now have a division. Students demand action. Of course they do. We demand action because that'll work. Yes. Grand Region says, could it be all the mental health drugs people are on younger? Yes, that is a part. There's no doubt. There's no doubt it's a part. We are trashing young brains. We are trashing young brains, Grand Region. We are. And now why do we think we have so many issues with mental health? Why do they have schizophrenia so much? There's literally now, if you look, there are videos of people who are using AI to create images of what they see when they're schizophrenic. That's a thing now. That's how bad it is. Yes, you're absolutely correct. It's a big problem. We have to fix it, and we have not. We haven't fixed it at all. It's a problem. So, yeah. All right, Roy says, Finland has long been engaging in an immigration campaign to address workforce needs. Brought on by, that's the reason why. Thank you, Roy. When I was younger, Finland was one of the ones that was the most homogenous. I guess that's changed because of their immigration policies. Makes sense. That makes sense. So, Roy says, contributing to transgender mental health issues is how so many do not want to let them live the way they want to live. This is a valid point too. And let me bring this up here. Roy's got some good stuff going on tonight. Thank you for watching tonight, Roy. Roy's a friend of mine from years ago. I've known Roy for like 20 years. Met him many times. So I never forget this. One of the local state leaders of Libertarian Party of Hawaii was a trans woman. She passed a couple years ago. Prior to her passing, her and I had to sit down years ago, probably, I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever it was. I was raising money in Maui at the time. And we sat down and chatted. And she said something that stuck with me. I asked her, I said, you know, she had been a sex worker, and she was a big advocate for sex workers in general. And I asked her, I said, why by percentage are so many trans people in the sex work industry? Why is that a case, right? I don't get it. Help me out. And she goes, you don't understand something, Larry. She said, for too many trans people, they feel like they can never be accepted as how they want to be accepted. They can never be. And the way they feel they can, particularly if they're a male transition to a female, is they put on a dress, put on some makeup, go into the sex working field, and they get treated like a woman. And I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. Oh my God, that's horrible. Like that is, you're in that, your mindset, your head or your community or wherever you are is so toxic to you that you feel that the only way you can be you is to go be a sex worker. Wow. To your point, Roy. When she told me that, I was like, okay, wow. And again, she was trans. This is her saying her experience, and she was an advocate for people in the sex work industry. That's part of what she did. And I was like, damn. Okay. Did not see that. So to your point, Roy, I agree. But here's the advantage, right? I feel like I feel like in most cities, at least, I mean, you and I both live in New York City. In New York City, this is a done deal. The battle's over here, right? The battle's over. You can do whatever you want here. Nobody cares, right? So I don't know. My tech person for years was trans. My policy person in 2020 2018 was trans. My marketing team trans people on it last time, right? So I never cared. It was whatever. I don't care. Anyway, moving on. I think you're correct. Another long way of saying you're right, Roy. Another long way. There we go. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Austin, how are you, Austin? Hey, Larry, I caught up with all your videos. Like I said, I would. Also, I was told by a GOP coworker that Muslims are trying to overpopulate and take over. How should I tell them that's not evident? Two things. One, I think Muslims are overpopulating, but not because they're trying to take over, because I think much of their culture is telling them to do so. I think it's a cultural issue. I don't think they're like, we're going to take over the world. I don't think most Muslims care. There are some Muslim leaders who believe that, and that's true, but the average Muslim is just like, I'm just going to have lots of kids, like Amish. So I do think they are populating. It's true. I think it's that they're Muslims are the fastest growing religion. But when it comes to takeover, here is the response. Islam is the fastest growing religion, not because of population, because of conversion. Just tell him that, because that's true. Did a video on it 2 months ago. It's factual. And more women are converting than men. In America, more black than white, but that's not true in every country. But in America, more black than white and more women than men are converting to Islam. Islam is growing because of conversion. People are going to Islam. People are going to all, and again, did a whole video on this a couple months ago. People are going to the more restrictive religions. Why? The same story I've been saying all day and all week. People are unhappy. Unhappy people are looking for something, looking for purpose, looking for something. And what does a strict religion give you? Purpose. It gives you guidelines. It gives you rules. So if you notice, in Christianity, the largest growing religions are Catholicism and Eastern Orthodox. Why? They have the most rules. And outside of Christianity, what is it? Islam has the most rules. You may not like those rules. Clearly, people do. Clearly, people do. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. So, there we go. All right. I hope. Yeah, I think I covered that. So, yes. Grand Region says in Japan they can't own guns, can they? You can. It is just insanely hard to do so. You must check, if I remember the rules, I lived in Japan for 4 years. You have to check every year. You must renew your license every year. You must have people to vouch for you. And they don't just have strict gun control in Japan. They have strict bullet control in Japan. You must account for every round. How you fired it, where you fired it, how you bought it, every round. So you must account for your firearms every round. And if I remember right, in Japan, you have to actually draw a map of your home where you're keeping the firearm with a map, and it must be a government allowed safe. I'm not joking. I'm pretty sure that's true, how it works. So you can, it is possible. It's just insanely hard. And they can tell you no for failing any of those reasons for any reason. So do some people own guns in Japan? Legally? Yes, some do. Very few do. And it's also not like part of their culture, right? That's not a thing for their culture. So yes, but you can. It's just insanely hard. It's insanely hard. So yes, just so you're aware. Paul says, does the GOP really think Elise Stefanik is the one to beat Hochul, or is she the next Zeldin? She's the next Zeldin. GOP does not believe that Stefanik can win. They know she can't. That doesn't mean she won't try, but she can't. Kim says, broken families manifest broken communities. So true. Fix families, the communities will fall in line. Yes. Stop seeding the population with greed and having them chase the carrot. Mom or dad have more time. Yes, yes, and yes. Absolutely true. That's true. Liberty says, Larry, what is your favorite part of traveling New York during your full Sharpe? Two things I like. Number one, is actually meeting the same people. Very often, when I go out there and run around, I meet people who I've met 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Seeing them again, right? Seeing them again. I really like that, and seeing what's been happening, how they've been working, catching up. I really enjoy that part. Second piece is hearing stories that I think I can fix, because those stories are the things that make me make policy. I think those are two things: seeing the same people again and seeing what they're doing, catching up, and then hearing the stories. Those two things. So yes. All righty. Minor Threat says, yeah, but many people commit suicide with taking kids with them. Yes, agreed. I didn't say it's the only way to commit suicide. Every suicide isn't a mass pew-pew, but every mass pew-pew is a suicide. So if you end suicides, you end the mass pew-pews. If you end the mass pew-pews, you may not end all suicides. I hope that's clearer. I hope that makes sense. So I don't always. It makes sense to me all the time, and it doesn't always make sense to you guys. But it does make sense to me. So yes. All righty. Master, I hope Larry had a piece of it with the name of the hotel. No, I had their card. The hotel had a card. So yes, on my story, the hotel had a card. I took the hotel card, so I had that. So yes, I was thinking, Master, I was thinking. Yes, I was thinking that. Yeah, absolutely. So Mike says, "Oh God, I saw this in Moscow." I'm sure. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Mike lived in, for you guys don't know, Mike lived in Russia for a while, so I'm sure he had similar stories. Yep. All righty. Okay. Master, how do you get back? I had the card. That's how I got back. So yes, that's how I got back, was the card. Let's see here. It's very concerning once you forgot that everything you've been taught is a lie. Wow. Yes. Yes. So, all right. If I keep walking down some of these roads. Chris says, if the bing bong at the Fed would drop interest rates, maybe Gen Z could afford a house. There's a lot more, but yes, that'd be part of it. But there's more. Yes. Grant Reed says, I was going to say a lot of us millennials feel the same way. Yes. Yes. Millennials, the millennial Gen X is like that gray area, Grand Regent. Like some of them feel, some of them don't. That's the gray area, right? It's not a strict line. That's the area. Millennials are the gray area. It is clear Gen Z, clear Gen Alpha, clear. Millennials, yeah, they're the gray area. That's correct. That's the gray area. He goes on to say, work feels like a game and we're being played. True. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. All right. He goes on to say, give 30, 40 years to a company for what? I figured out early when I came out of college and had to make moves, got some help from parents to make some real estate moves that saved me. Agreed. Most people who are, say, under 30, under 40 in that area think that a 9-to-5 is a joke. They don't respect it at all. I agree. Most don't. And to be forward, many companies have shown that to be real, right? Many companies shown that to be real. It's true. Yes. So Phil says, ABC, always be creating. I like that. Mike says, thing is, in my 20s, I had multiple roommates too. Young and experienced don't get luxuries. Get experience and lead better. Youth have no patience. The problem is, Mike, if you look at something, I'll give you an example. See if I can remember the details. It's some stat. I'm going to be off on this stat, but you'll get the concept. It was something like 55 or 60% of men over 30-year-old men owned a home and were married. Something like that. Maybe 50, 60%, whatever. It was over 50% in like 1970 or whatever it was. Today, it's like 10%. Less than 10%. That's not just having no patience. That's a different system. It's a different system. If you were 20 and you were working, me and you in our 20s, we thought in our minds, 10 years from now, we're going to be making money or something. We had some kind of dream or thought process of some place we were going, right? We thought that, oh, we got this will happen and that. We thought that. They see no success. They see broken families, unhappy people, unhappy relationships, right? Look, when I was in my 20s, I had a lot of ladies. I'm not trying to be like I'm cool guy, but I did. Most boys, men in their 20s have 0 ladies. 0. I had multiple. Mike, you probably did too, right? A lot of 20-something men, when we out there, whatever, doing a thing, we were getting I used to date older women all the time, right? So I was having experiences, feeling like I was doing something, feeling cool and respected, right? I was doing those types of stuff. I was a Marine for part of that time, feeling real respected and strong and everything. A lot of these guys don't feel any of that stuff. It's a different world. Different world. We could save money. We can't save money. Today, tough. It's not the same. It is different. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying they can't. And it's what I'm saying. If I would advise anyone today, a young man who's 18 years old, 19 years old, 17 years old now, if they came to me and said, Larry, tell me what to do, here's what I would say. Find a physical job that you can do and work that job for 5 years straight. Bust your ass in that job. Get good at that job. Meet everybody you can meet and work at that job. Just work. Don't date. Don't play around. Don't screw around. Just work and put money away. Just work and get good at that job. You got a young, strong body now. Use it. Figure out in this next 5 years, what are you going to do with your life? Do you want to go to college? Do you want to get a good job? Do you want to start a business? Whatever it is, put that cash away. Save that cash. Get a roommate or 2. A roommate or 2. Get 3 if you need to be. Your job is to work. Have more than one job if you can. That will be my advice to somebody today. Now, you might not like to hear that, but that's what I would tell them to do. 5 years. When you're 23, you will have 5 years of work experience doing stuff. You will have a clue what you want to do with your life because you've done jobs. You worked multiple jobs. You'll be in great shape because you can't eat much because you're poor. And you're going to work out a lot. So you're going to be nice and strong. You're going to be in good physical shape. You have a bunch of cash in the bank with a thought process of where to go. Now you can get a girlfriend. Because now some 19 or 20 will be like, ooh, you going someplace. They're going to like you now. Now you're going to get a girlfriend. Go have some good fun with your girls. You can do that now and figure out what to do with your life. That's what I was going to do. I might not have said that 20 years ago. Now there's no other way of doing it. There's no other way of doing it. And the problem is, how do you get those jobs? It's not easy to get a job. That's why you have to get a physical job. Those are the only jobs out there that pay any money. And if I'm telling you I'm 18, I would say leave the country if need be. Go work in Dubai if you have to. I don't care. Go work in an oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, whatever. Go work there. Go to North Dakota. Go to Canada and work in one of them damn oil places. Go whatever. Go do that hardcore job now. Do it for 5 years, maybe 7 years. Just do it. Just work. Work as many jobs as you can, as much overtime as you can. Burn your body out. Do it when you're 18, 19, 20, you'll recover. When you're 50, you ain't recovered. When you're 20, you'll recover. That's what I would do. So, yes. Christine says, I'm totally validated when you read my comments. Oh, I'm glad when I can able to do that. Yes, I'm still behind him. Mike's still yelling at me, but I'm trying to be good. So, yes. All righty. John says, Larry, everything's real glitchy tonight with the commercials. I don't know that. I try to read the commercials as wide as possible. Like every 20 minutes or something. I forgot what the thing is. I went as wide as I could. So, yes. In any case. All right. Where was I? Robert says, there's no way in the world where you put in the hands of churches. There was a great article explaining the bias of a charity. 2 parts. One, doesn't have to be churches, as I said. I'm okay with it being churches. It doesn't have to be. The issue is if you allow the local people to give their money to whichever one they want, you will find they will almost always pick the better ones. That's how it usually works. Will there be failures? Of course there'll be failures. But the entire system right now, welfare system completely fails. So you're saying, will it be perfect? No. I want to be very clear. It will not be perfect. To your point, Robert, there will be people who are biased, who make mistakes, screw up. Yes. But now it's everywhere. The whole system's broken. You have a bunch of people who are still struggling and are still unhappy and can't grow and still hate the community. Lose, lose, lose. Michael says, Lions Club, Rotary. Yes, those are all possible too. Any of those would work. right? Again, that's why I say civic association, which could include churches. I do know that in the past, when you have charities that are not, here's the issue about why charities often fail. Many of them are actually government driven. They need to be, to Michael's point, community driven. Many nonprofits are simply arms of the government, and they fail. It has to actually be community driven. That's the issue. So yes, Grandrin says churches can't possibly do that. They simply don't have the means. That's my point. With my plan, they could have the means. But you're right, and that's my entire point when I was talking about Christine. You couldn't do it right now. It's impossible right now to do it. It would not work. It could work, but it would take more time. This is not a 5 minutes. This is a multiple year project, and there would be some failures. There would be, but there's massive failures now. So there would be some failures. You take time and you keep the government programs as a safety net until the communities can pick up the slack. My gut says 10 years, but I don't know. It might be less, might be more, but it would take time. But it could be done. You're right, not now, true, but absolutely could be done. So that's my whole point. All righty. Let's see here. Oh my God, John's about the Ford Pinto was a real thing. I remember that. Yes. But American cars in the 80s were pretty bad. Just saying. They were pretty bad. Phil says the welfare state is to prop up college graduates with worthless degrees and politically favored contractors. Not wrong. Not wrong. So Phil says my local rescue mission has a budget of about $2 million. But to replicate that, they don't. What they do would probably cost the city of Albany $100 million. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, okay. Liberty says there's a book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Yes. Most people would benefit reading that book. True. True. Yes. Not concerned. Yes. Christine says Larry's personality is pineapple pizza. Yes. Accurate statement, Christine. That's my entire personality. Yes. 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 John says the issue is public schools talking about gender and that you can change your gender to 5-year-olds. The toy you decide to pick up one day should not lock in your future. Yes, that's an issue. I completely agree. There is no way. There is absolutely no way you should be discussing changing genders and such in schools, particularly of 5-year-olds. If you want to discuss gender issues, that would be under a sex ed education when the kids are approaching, puberty. If you want to have puberty issues, I could understand that conversation. But no, I completely agree. And that's where the trans community went too far. It's when that began happening. That is when the LGBT started becoming LGB. People started wanting to distance themselves. And that was true. Yes, that's what happened. They started distancing themselves. That's where you got the idea of the turf came when this started happening. I've said it before. You can't mess with the kids. It never goes well. It never goes well. You hear me say it all the time. I'm libertarian. And to best of my ability, I am. What does that mean? You do whatever you want to do as long as it is with you and others who are all consenting and adults. If those two things are true, enjoy. If those two things are not true, you may not enjoy. That's how it works. If those two things are true, enjoy. And both must be true. Consenting and adult. Enjoy. Phil, thank you for $2. AMA, Escape from New York City. What 3 tools are you taking? All right. One of the best tools to take is a spade. It's a very good tool. Spade is a good tool. Axe and spade for sure. Those are 2 very good tools. Because axe can also be used as a hammer in the back. A weapon also. Chop down trees too. Spade to dig. Weapon also. So those 2 are very good. I learned that from the Marine Corps. You can build almost anything with a spade and an axe. Marine Corps taught me that when we were building trenches and shit, bunkers, spade and axe. You do almost anything with those two things. So I would have to go spade and axe. Third one, it's a tool. Does a firearm count as a tool? If a firearm counts as a tool, firearm, and the firearm of choice I would take probably would be, I'm torn. There's value to 3 different ones. If I got to pick only one firearm, I think if I had to pick one firearm, it's a rifle. I was torn. And because I know it, I'd pick M16, AR-15, M4, only because I know them. Not that they're the best one to have, but I know them the best. So if something goes wrong, I can repair them. Like I still remember how to take apart an M16. I can still do it. So, and I know the weapon, I know the ammunition, I know how they work, I know how to fire with them, I know everything about it. So I feel very comfortable. I was a Marine Corps coach, marksmanship coach. So I feel very comfortable with it. I feel very comfortable with the 1911 45 as a pistol. Again, not that it's the best pistol, but it's the one I feel most comfortable with. And I feel the most comfortable with AR-15, M16, M4. One of those. If I'm going firearm. If you don't consider a firearm a tool, then maybe hunting knife. You need a blade. Maybe hunting knife. Maybe that would be another tool. Spade, axe, hunting knife, and then firearm. So, and if I can only get one rifle, if I can get more than one, firearm, 1911, 45 because I know it, M16 because I know it, not because they're the best weapons. I know them the best. I feel most comfortable with them. Something goes wrong, I can repair, fix. I know the ammo well, and shotgun. Yes, and shotgun. If I had those. If I could pick those 2 weapons, that's what I'd pick. If I had to only pick 2, no shotgun. I'd go M16, 1911. That's what I would do. All right. Hope I answered your question. All right. Let's see here. Rick says, the lesson in treating mental illness is something to honor and celebrate never leads to happiness. The lesson is treating mental illness as something to honor and celebrate. That's true. Treating gender dysphoria by affirming it as something real leads to real harm, self and other. Yes, that's true. Look, lots of people have mental illness, whether it is temporary or permanent, right? Sometimes it's temporary, sometimes it's permanent, right? Many people have it. You don't want to celebrate it, but to Roy's point, you don't want to discourage it. You'll be like, look, I got it. Like we get sick, right? Sometimes I get sick. I get sneezed or whatever. I get sick. I shouldn't celebrate. I shouldn't. Oh, so happy you got no, you got sick, dude. Let's fix you. Whatever. I completely agree. Yes, I completely agree. That's how we should be dealing with it. So yes. All righty. Let me see if I can grab here some more. So many of these. I'm trying to catch up. I'm almost there. I'm on my way to catching up. I'm trying very much. Phil says Yakuza carry guns. Not always. No, many of them carry knives and swords, which also, by the way, against the law. But yes, many of them do. Yes. Paul says Larry, Marines are chick magnets. Not fair. I know. I married one. Those dress blues. Wow. True. Yes. True. 100%. All righty. Masterman Hour says I lost my innocence at a young age, but I can't imagine growing up without women. Yes, I lost my innocence at 16 to a woman who was a tad older. That's what I'll say. A tad older. So yes. All right. Graham says exactly, Sharpe. The social contract is broken. There's no house, the wife, dog, and a fence. Yes, and people were told that existed, and it was a lie. You're right. And I bring this up all the time. People will get mad and go, you Gen Zs, millennials, you're so entitled. You're just lazy and entitled. And I go, they don't see it that way. They see it as you lied to me and you stole my future. I want stuff, yeah, but it's restorative justice. That's how they see it. And you may disagree, but that's how they see it. They don't see it as I'm lazy entitled. They see it as you lied to me. You told me if I do X, Y, and Z, and I did X, Y, and Z, that A, B, and C be ready for me. And there's no A, and there's no B, and there's no C. So you know what? You lied to me. You still got it, though. You got A, B, and C. I got none of them. Restorative. That's how they see it. Again, you may disagree, but Grand Region is correct. People do see it that way. Absolutely true. Yes. All righty. Let me grab some of these. Yeah, Monitor says cops in Japan don't get guy. Yes, the cops have guns, but the cops have guns at the station. Very similar to some European countries. The cops don't carry the firearms on them, but they have them. But they have them when they need them. Like, okay, there's a problem. They go back to the station and they get the guns. So yes. So, all righty. Paul says, would you advise a Gen Z to enlist in the military? It's still worth it. I wouldn't advise anyone to join the military unless they feel like that's their only shot. Right? It was mine. Right? I would join Marine Corps. I loved it. It was the right thing for me. I was broken. I was very happy. I was lost. Marine Corps saved my life. If you're in that spot, Polar, yes. If you're a young man and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I have no idea what's in my life. Yeah, join. Yes, you might go get your arms and legs blown off. Yes, you might have PTSD, but the alternative is jail, unhappiness in jail, and probably substance abuse. I don't mean to be mean, but if you're lost, that's what people are doing. Young men are lost. They're checking out. They're addicted. They have addiction problems. They aren't happy. Gamble in the Marine Corps. Go. Do it. That would be my answer, because your alternative is worse. So yeah, that's when I would say yes. But if you have other options, if there are other things you can do that you want to do, I would do other things. Our military now is filled. Our military now is just supporting other people. It doesn't support us anymore. Our military no longer supports us. It supports others. We're fighting wars for other people now. So, yeah, I'm not even there anymore. So, all righty, let me keep going down here if I can. So many of these. Let's see here. Phil says 5.56 is a good varmint round. Yes, 22. Yes, it's basically a 22. Yes. Grand Rapids says is an AR-15 a good hunting weapon also? Yes, it's 22. Roy says a Swiss Army knife. Oh, good one too. Yes. I was saying, I said hunting knife, but maybe that's a better one. Roy, I'm going to change. Can I change my answer? I'm going to go with Roy's. Not a hunting knife, Swiss Army knife. That is a better one. I'm with you. Yeah. There we go. Okay. That works. Mike said, hold on. There is no way Larry catches up on chat tonight. I just did. Took some time, but I did. Massman says a water filter, compass and map, one tool, and flint. I can make a water filter. I know how. So maybe. And if I would have filtered my water, I'd try to find iodine tablets more than anything else, which is, so that's me making a raid on the local CVS or whatever to get iodine. So I could use iodine tablets to filter my water. And I know how to make a water. You can make charcoal by burning wood. You can make charcoal and actually filter your water that way. So I could filter my water. So I wouldn't worry about a water filter because that'll go away. I have to make another one anyway. So I would not get a water filter. I wouldn't take up one of my spots for that. I need a compass. Not necessary. I know by the sun, by the stars, I can do it. I was a surveyor in the Marine Corps. I still could do it. I don't require a compass. So I wouldn't get that. Map, maybe. Depends where I am. Maybe. Flint, does it count as a tool? If it counts as a tool, then yeah, I can see the value of it. I don't know if it counts as a tool. So maybe. But no. Water filter, no. Compass, no. Map, no. I wouldn't need those. I would feel comfortable. Particularly if I'm in New York, I know New York very well. So I wouldn't worry about that at all. And a compass, I don't need it. I know east, west, north, south. Whether nighttime or daytime, I can figure that one out. And then water filter, I'd make my own. So those I would not do. But I do like, I definitely do like that. I like the idea of the Swiss Army knife. So yeah, you got me on that one. You got me on that one for sure. So, all righty. I think I grabbed all those pieces. I think we're good. Okay. Guys, I want to cover a couple things if I could. Number one, remember, no radio show on Monday. I will be live next weekend, this weekend, I should say. So if you will be around, please join me if you can make it to any of the spots I'm about to show you right now, so that we are available on this piece. There we go. If you can see me Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. And those 3, please come by. It's free. Just show up. Come see me. Come say hi. Chat me up. All good. I would appreciate it if you can. Remember, our member show is September 5th, not this Friday, but next Friday. I've already put the links up there. Please let me know if you care. If you have to be a member for that. If you become a member, you can. Click that join button. You can become a member if you want to come on a show. Remember, you can watch it no matter who you are, but you can come on if you are a member. If you have not clicked the like button, why haven't you clicked the like button? What is wrong with you? Why haven't you done so? Please, guys, click that button. It does matter. How else am I going to move this thing? How else can I keep growing if you guys don't click the button? Click it. Click on it. If you haven't shared or reposted it, please do so. It does matter. And remember, after the live, please come back and comment. And please, and here's what I want you to we did a lot of stuff today. I know it was a lot of AMA stuff. But please tell me, what's the first thing you thought of when you heard about the mass violence in Minnesota? First thing you thought of. Please comment after the live is over. Please comment on that. Remember, if this is not live, you're going to see a couple of videos pop up. If you watch it like the day after or over the weekend, click on one of those videos if you would, and watch it for 8 minutes. If you missed me over the weekend, you can always watch my Juneteenth episode if you want to from a couple years back. I will see you all